And we're live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new, very controversial edition of the Fans of Power podcast here, because I can't imagine anybody expecting anything less from this podcast at this point. I'm your local asshole, the guy that everybody loves to hate and label me as this or that, Mr. Negative. I hate this, and I think it's great. You guys are just giving me such great heat as a heel podcaster, so I thank everybody for that. So I'm your local asshole, Tyler Baker. And Nasty Nate Kennedy and the mob boss himself, the Rotten Amato Joe Amato. We're here to have a good time, whether you like it or not, guys.
I don't think we're a heel podcast, by the way.
Oh no, not you guys. I'm definitely a heel podcaster by far. You know,
You're the heel. Joe's the baby face, and I'm like the tweener.
You're like the Vincent McMahon. Joe, you're like the Vincent McMahon. Joe would probably be JR, and I'm definitely.
I would think Jack Tunney. I would say Jack Tunney over Vince McMahon.
Okay,
I have the Vince voice, but I say Jack Tunney because Jack Tunney was more that neutral guy who didn't have a preference for heel.
Boy, I hated Jack Tunney. I hated Jack Tunney. It's because he was just so bland, and then when they would bring him out, and then he would make an announcement. Like I remember the time I was waiting. It was after Sid Justice. Remember, I was thinking he was going to be announced as being the number one contender, and then Jack Tunney announced Hulk Hogan, and you seen Sid making that angry face. I was like, I hate this fucking Jack Tunney. But I did want to say something cool when I went to the store. I finally found that little mini battle ram, and that actually is absolutely cooler than shit. That is a cool.
That's very nice.
You know what's bizarre about this, though? Now, just to let you know, it separates, so it's cool. That is awesome. But I want to show you something on the back part. Now, first, look at this side bulge thing right here where I'm touching. Now, when I flip it over this way, it looks like it's separated. And I thought maybe originally was that meant if you push that, would that missile have launched out? Because the missile doesn't come out, but it's just a weird thing, and I don't know if anybody out there has bought one of these, and maybe if theirs is a button, but I just will say this is really cool. They missed the mark on one sticker, and that's if you notice on the back here, no sticker, and if you remember, the iconic sticker on the back is that face that so many people have used. They put it on t-shirts. I even made a custom figure of a head with this face. I'm surprised they didn't put that iconic sticker on the back, but just to let you know, these things have popped up. I've seen them at Target, and Kroger. I don't know if you guys have a Kroger where you're at.
Yeah.
But
we've covered this, Joe. You thought Kroger was just only limited to you.
Oh, you're right. See, that's my bad memory. But if
you ever heard of that Walmart's? You got one?
Oh, that place that has the bullseye. It's called Target.
I don't know if you got it. It's new. It's a new place. But if you guys haven't found one yet, would either of you want me to try to pick one up for you if I find an extra? Because this is actually cooler than shit.
I mean, it looks nice. I mean, yeah, I'm down with that.
Honestly, Joe, I'm indifferent to it when it comes to the miniature stuff and the Hot Wheels and things. I don't know, man. I don't
care for all that cutesy bullshit, like the Mighty Mugs
cool.
and mini.
I figured if anything, Tyler can appreciate these more than Nate.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Like if it looks strictly like the vintage vehicle, there's nothing, added on there because somebody had to fucking make it their own. Then I'm fine with that. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
One thing.
It is an awesome thing. Like I said, me talking about the little sticker is just a dick move, just because it's a thing I remembered so much. So in case anybody's getting upset about it, I'm just fucking around like always. I love this goddamn little thing. But anyways, I'll get you one time.
You ain't got to apologize for Sandy Vagina out there.
You don't have to. We don't have to go into that.
And I mentioned this, Nathan. Now let me get to the chat. Yeah. Go ahead and look at the participants. I'm gonna say hello to everybody that I see as participants, because that makes it easier for me. We have Adam Gabbard.
Go figure. It's almost like I've been saying this for 8-9 months, maybe longer. 2 years.
All right, okay. Adam Gabbard, Kevin Cronick, Curtis Ackerman, Daniel Carhoonan, Darth Baga, Eric Munoz. Did I fuck his name up again? I'm sorry, Eric. Fedmon, Gary Buchanan, Grimbot, JSP, Jaime Mares. See, I got it right that time. Johnny Cock, Lacey Dean, Baba Hud 69, Pride of Grayskull, Tommy, Von Ratliff, and Zen Brown. And also, I was going to say I wanted to give a special shout-out because last week's episode brought in a lot of new subscribers. Very grateful for that. Yeah, and again, thank you to Michael for coming on, and he was a good sport, me giving him shit. But we had fun. It was a lot of laughing. I'm going to turn up my volume just so I can hear what happened. It's probably showing. Yeah, it was showing the last stuff.
I don't know if it'll connect to this, maybe?
I think we might be back.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see if the chat room says that we're back.
think we're back. I'm trying to turn volume.
I think we're back, but now I got to figure out my camera thing, or I might just have to restart this all over again because I don't know if my webcam wants to work or not.
Hey guys, we're back temporarily. Don't know what's going on. Nathan's trying to check his camera. They're having thunderstorms and issues where they're at, so that's why we got kicked off. We got all these new people, and then they seen that, and then they got
the power flickered off. The internet went out, and then my monitor, one of my monitors went out, but now that's back.
Well, look what you did, Nathan. You pissed somebody off, and they gave us a thumbs down because of you. God damn it, Nathan. It can't be because of my battle ram.
They think we're ECW out here, like we're the ECW podcasting right now.
Yeah.
I think we're going again.
Wait, maybe that works. Maybe that works. I think you guys can see me now, right?
Yeah.
Holy fuck. I don't know how that's gonna look on a replay or what I get to do with the audio. That's the first time that's ever happened. I was dreading it.
Isn't it weird? And with all the new people, and that's what's terrible. It's like all these new subscribers, like, hey, this is a great podcast. These guys are fucking good. I enjoy this. Look how fucking
live.
the content.
We're live, pal. But no, I was looking because I follow our local weather channel, our local news station on Twitter, and they were saying, hey, about 8:30, 9 o'clock. There's going to be a storm rolling through your area. I'm like, no, not while the show's going on, please. So, yeah, we'll see how that turns out on the replay if I have to go and, splice that together or whatever. And I don't know why it, in Skype, it, turned my camera off. So I had to...
that's actually kind of better. I mean, we really don't fucking need to see you. I mean, you could just cut that.
It's a quick... Hey, it was a quick turnaround, though. It was a quick turnaround. Yeah. Just
all right, not bad.
Fingers crossed. The storm's not gone, by the way. Just fingers crossed. We don't have to do that again.
All right, we'll see how much longer this lasts. So, so I think I at least acknowledge everybody from all the new subscribers. Again, greatly appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the content. Like I said, we talk about
everybody. Yeah, it is. All of you that took the time to hit that subscribe button, all of you that took the time to leave a comment, all of you that if you did one or the other or neither and you just liked the video or just even clicking on it and giving us that view. We appreciate all of you across the board.
Everybody that was willing to give their time to us and let us know their thoughts. Like that, we could not have been prouder. The three of us were going back and forth all week after last week's response and as it went on throughout the week. So we thank all of our regular listeners and the dog pile of new listeners that Michael brought over. We just want to thank everybody because we appreciate people's time and we don't want to take it for granted. We always want to give you, if you're going to listen to us, we'll make it worth your while. Whether you like it or not, it should be interesting for you. So we thank everybody who took the time to listen to us last week. And we hope a lot of you will stick around.
Yeah, and definitely, like I said, we talk about everything from the past, present, what we'd like to see in the future. For anybody that's, again, new or maybe just didn't know everything we talk about, we will talk about the stuff from, the mini comics in the past, the books, the cartoon episodes, whatever it may be, and current stuff. And this week happens to be two current things. And first we'll start off with
Joe,
the SilverHawks.
His brain is already off. One thing we need to plug. Link is there at the top in the description.
Oh, and let me describe it. Go ahead, you first. And I'll
well, you go ahead and describe it because I was just going to say what it was. You let the people know what you did, Joe.
All right. Did you put it up there on the screen for everybody to see?
Not yet, but I can do that as you're talking.
Get on the ball.
Joe.
Put that shit up. Come on. Oh man, I got worked up.
When the power flickered and my monitor went out and I scrambled and panicked and did the Joe Amato thing and freaked out. I'm like, I got to get the show back. I could have just sat here and be like, fuck the show. Who cares?
Yeah.
Well, anyways, I put up on my TeePublic page. Now, there's a vintage Masters of the Universe board game that was from one of the coloring books years ago. So I, redrew that thing as one whole piece, colored it in, and changed some of the parts on the squares because there's some parts that actually for if you were younger or hell, even as an adult, kind of didn't make sense. It's like, okay, but if I land on this, what's going on now? Do you mean I have to, or is it an option? So to clear that up, I changed up some of the wording, changed some of the squares, and made it to where it lasts longer because there's one square if you land on when it was He-Man, it said go right to the end. I was like, well, God, that makes the game quick, so I got rid of that. But what I did is I redrew it all, and for one of our listeners, Aaron Anderson, him and his family, I said, you guys love Masters of the Universe. I said, you always have your game night. I said, what do you think if I take this, put on TeePublic, and they have like big throws that you can print out. I said, you could have a giant board game that you guys could all sit around and play. And he said, that sounds like a great fucking idea. So I put it up. He ordered it. And it was just a couple days ago that he finally showed it to his family, and him, his wife, and his 2 boys all played it live in Scareglow's house, one of the groups on Facebook. And it was really cool to see the genuine excitement of the kids and just all of them playing. And they could use like their Origins or their Classics figures or any figures as markers to go around the board. It's actually pretty cool. So yeah, he shared the video. It was an honor to make that. And yeah, see, and here's a picture, Nathan, that put up with the boys playing, and that was pretty cool to see. And yeah, because he was concerned. He was like, I wonder what the quality will look like. So when I redrew this and colored it, I tried to make it the most high-res image possible so it wouldn't blur out. And sure enough, it didn't make it blurry at all. It is actually super crisp and clear.
That's
and
nice.
yeah, so I changed. Yeah, thank you. So like I said, I changed up squares and I changed up the rules. And yeah, it's a cool thing. So if you go to TeePublic and if you want to play that with your family, you can have it on like multiple sizes that you can put that on that throw. That's the biggest one that they got. I mean, it's gigantic. So that was pretty cool to make.
And I think for the next 7 hours, as of us doing this live stream right now, I think it's only $22. When it's not on sale, it's usually about $30, and shipping's not too awful bad on TeePublic.
Yeah, they're
I'd like
having
to
their
get this from Brian.
It's awesome.
Oh, I think he'd love it. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I think he'd like it a lot.
Well, here,
'cause he
Tyler,
seems to be genuinely into He-Man.
I'll send you the picture of the.
I'm looking at it right here.
Well, did you see the picture of the boys like on it? Like,
oh yeah,
okay.
yeah, I saw
All right,
it earlier.
yeah.
Yeah, which looked pretty amazing. Like because I thought that was a pretty damn good idea there. So I think to get that for Brian and point out all the villains because he likes the bad guys a lot. I think that'd be really cool to get for him.
I appreciate it. And it'd be cool to see you guys even play. He'd probably love to play with his uncle.
Oh, we definitely would because he would definitely because he's supposed to be in next weekend. So I'm sure I'll get to show him some He-Man cartoons or something like that. My brother doesn't come in and put the kibosh on.
Oh yeah, I could see Derek doing that.
Oh, and he does.
Don't watch this He-Man shit here. Watch what was some of that shit that he was into back
Hell,
in
it's
the
not
day?
even. He's in the Dragon Ball Z and all that
Well,
stuff.
there's
But
nothing
it's
wrong
not
with
even
that,
that,
but whatever.
I'm not gonna hate on it, but Derek will no, you don't need to be watching too much stuff. They need to be outside playing. Then they go outside playing, and then you get in trouble. It's just like, okay, if they sit here and watch cartoons with me, they're fine and they're not bothering anybody, and they're not roughhousing.
Yeah, if you guys, like I said, are having fun. And see, and that's the whole logic of, like, when I did something like this, like, when I first made it, I just redid it. I put it up on a bunch of the He-Man pages and groups on Facebook just for people to download and make a little board to play, just to have fun. I didn't do this for money. It's not like I'm doing this like, hey, I'm going to get rich. It's like, no, I did this just to share
we need
with all
more
the
stuff like that. Like, it'd be fun if you even took more images from the coloring books, like and made like a pattern of all the covers. And just, like you can make a blanket out of that or just because there were some cool looking covers on those coloring books.
Yeah. There are.
Especially the one of Skeletor and Beastman like stalking Tila. That was one of my favorite ones. That was because I had that one. But,
I think that was an R.L. Allen one.
Yeah,
he's done a bunch of those. But yeah, this one, like I said, it was a whole redraw. It was a whole coloring, changing up stuff. But again, it was just to share with the community and everybody to have fun. Like, and even the stuff that when it sells on TeePublic, I get $1 or $2 for everything that sells. So it's not like Joe would be rolling
the Dollar Tree this week.
That's right. Like for me, hey, it's good, but it's not like Joe is trying to get rich. I'm rich in love. How about that for being corny? Of sharing it with the community and letting them have fun. And just enjoying stuff with the family.
I don't know. I'm not so.
Yeah, I'm a good guy. I'm a good guy.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of good shit, let's get to some of the SilverHawks talks, which actually you guys might know more of the details of. I've seen the figures. I have my thoughts of them, which I think they look good, and I know there's things that I wish could have been done to them different. But I like the looks of them. I wish I had the money, and I think the Four Horsemen did work on these, if I'm not mistaken. So that's why they look so detailed into the faces, and they don't look like they're just like a 3D print. If I'm not mistaken, I think the Four Horsemen worked on them, and Like I think Monstar, or isn't he like fucking 11 or
11
12
inches.
inches? Isn't he?
11 inches.
Yeah, you go ahead with the details. Yeah.
Well, Monstar is clocking in at 11 inches and will be $85. And I know we're gonna get into the pricing and everything. Everybody else is $55. So you can either go on Super 7's website and pre-order now, which if you do that, that money is automatically taken out of your account. I went with Big Bad just because these things supposedly are coming out, spring 2022?
2022,
supposedly. Because we know Super
whatever.
7's track record with announcing things, taking your money, and then we have to wait a year and a half for the stuff to arrive. And I know the biggest.
Can you get them one at a time?
You can get them individually, but I think honestly it's best to just get it bundled up, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, otherwise you're paying more on shipping if you're going to buy them.
I mean, well, I guess for me, I was thinking about what I could afford. I don't think I could afford all.
Well, no, if you just wanted to buy one, like if you would just wanted to buy Buzzsaw, like
you could do that.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
But you don't have to buy all.
But I think you have to go through another website. I don't think you can get them individually on Super 7, right? If you get them through them, you have to get them all.
Big Bad, you can get them individually, and you don't have to pay up front. So it gives you time to save up for it.
Because when go ahead,
no,
Nathan, I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say the biggest concern that a lot of people have is the lack of the vac metal on them. That they don't look, they don't have that shine and sheen of the vintage figures. And I'm like, well, yes, but this also does take the look of the animated show. And if most people are familiar with Super 7 and their figures, a lot of those tend to have a little bit of a glossiness and a shine to them to begin with. So I have no problem with how these look.
And it can be done. I mean, the thing is, these could be, just for those who think they couldn't vac metal or chrome them, these things can be done. I think they said if they were doing them, they would have costed more. I mean, I know when I get it, I'm going to just customize it to give them the chrome because they need that. The vintage ones had it. These ones definitely need to have it. If Super 7, remember they did Hero, vintage style Hero, and he got that vac metal chrome for his armor. It's like, so it's something that can be done. I know they gave reasons of why they said they couldn't. So that was like, unfortunately, a thing. I was like, damn, they're not chromed. And I was hoping they could have went with the removable, the visors. Because when I did some of the customs for them, I took the mask. It had it to where there was like one little part for the head to where it could connect perfectly. It didn't take away from the aesthetic of the face. And it was cool to have it as like just, a display option. But they went with, alternate heads, which, that's fine. It would have been nice to have removable masks or visors. But either way, I think these things do look fantastic. And here's the one thing about Monstar, and I know I'm on the outs when I say this. Nobody usually agrees with me. I like his non-transformed look the best. And I
do too.
That we never got. Oh, you do?
No,
oh, okay.
I like them both. And with the vintage figure, they gave you the head of the.
Yeah, and it was.
I mean, it's not very good though, of course.
Right. It's like I always wanted that kind of cartoon accurate, and I'm hoping that in the future they give us that version. Because this one, yes, it of course it's badass, but I think he always looked so much more wicked before he transformed.
Oh, it's the hair and the jagged teeth, and he has like that Freddy Krueger type skin. It's like a mangled mess of mangled skin, I guess is just the best way you can put it. I found it to be quite creepy as a child, but the transformation version was just tough and badass. It didn't creep me out. Like seeing close-ups of his face and his voice and the flaming red hair and the black and red body. I mean, the sight of him, like that's a mob boss in the galaxy of Limbo. Like,
and what a difference of a contrast, because like when you look at Mumra with his like decrepit form, but when he transformed into that big ass ultra Mumra, it was like, oh shit, now that looks awesome. But this one for me, it was like, just didn't do it when the transformation happened. I was like, okay, he is a lot bigger, but I was like, I guess yes, he fits the aesthetic of all the other kind of characters with chrome type armored looking body, but it never did it for me. But of course, I'm not saying the figure doesn't look good. It looks good, and hopefully one day in the future we get his other version. But are you guys both buying all four?
Yeah, God, I hate saying that I did because we always talk so much about the figures look great. I think we can all agree that just the business model that they've come up with of, well, here's this, give us your money now, you'll get it a year and a half from today kind of thing. It just that's gotten kind of old over a period of time. I would rather them just not even say anything and not mention it and put them up for sale and pre-order until they're way closer. And I know it's different because they meet how many pre-orders they get and how much they allot to Entertainment Earth, Big Bad Toy Store, etc. I just wish we didn't have to wait so long. And Tyler told me that what you said, Wave 2 and 3 of Thundercats are supposedly going to ship
coming out in
July and August. So I can't wait for that almost damn near $400 to just boop, there it goes.
Yeah.
When did those originally go on pre-order? Because I couldn't even remember.
Oh my God, we're talking well over a year now, I think. I mean, they were supposed to arrive this past winter, January. I think was the initial, because it had been delayed already. I think it was like last quarter of 2020. And of course, COVID hit. But even before that, their track record, as we all know, was just not reputable at all. And it just more delays on these. So as of now, they say July and August. But I mean, hell, the way things go with them, anything could change. That's why when they said spring 2022, I'm like, you mean spring 2023? Because we never get it when you make that projection. So just don't insult their intelligence. Just say you're making them, we'll pay you, but don't get our hopes up like they do all the time. And then Brian comes out and makes fun of everybody because they're upset with how they do things. Like, just shut up. We'll buy your toys. Don't insult your customers for being mad at something that you couldn't deliver on.
Yeah.
But I will buy everything SilverHawks. I will buy everything Thundercats. I can be pissed off at Super 7, which is why I go through Big Bad.
Yeah.
They don't take my money right now.
Yeah.
It gives me time to build up for it. And if for some reason you run into a snafu financially, you take care of your car or family or whatever, you can cancel it, and you're not, penalized or anything like that, because things do happen. But wanting $250 right here on the spot from Super 7, I mean, they might as well just take my sack and with it, because it's just like they're just castrating right there on the spot. Like some of the stuff, I really feel like they need to have a like they did with the Thunder Tank, where you have a system where you can take out.
There is a payment plan for these, because when when I looked it up to just kind of see if there was much of a difference between or like pre-ordering through Big Bad and just ordering straight up from Super 7, it was only about $1 or so difference. But there is a payment plan on there. I think they have kind of come around to that idea of, hey, we're not all Eric Amons over here. We can't buy 12 of these.
Yeah.
So
payment plan for both Big Bad and Super 7, or just through Super 7?
Just through Super 7. Well, I mean, I never really looked to see if Big Bad had a payment plan.
Big Bad didn't offer anything like that. It was strictly like it's.
I think their thing on Big Bad is if it's a item that's very really expensive, they expect you to just pay X amount down at the beginning and then go from there. Yeah. I'm not entirely sure how it works, but there is
at least I wasn't offered anything like that when I made my pre-order for them on Friday.
Yeah.
But at least gives you time to plan for something like that. That's why I was almost kind of hoping Super 7 wasn't going to make an announcement for SilverHawks anytime soon, because they hadn't delivered on Thundercats.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you guys are still asking for more money, and you're still not delivering. I mean, it's just, it doesn't make you guys look reputable or good. Like, it doesn't matter what's going on. I know you can't help it, but, as a good businessman, to be asking for more money and you haven't delivered these expensive figures that you've already promised, like, it doesn't, I mean, people are going to buy them anyway. I think everyone's universally excited, but it's just frustrating.
It is.
It's just frustrating. The whole, we are keeping toys alive at this point, all of us in our age range, and we are made. It's pretty much mission impossible at this point. Everybody's fighting for the 3 that are released, or the 2 that are released, or the box of 6, and all these pre-orders, like, shit's not coming in when you expect it, and it's just frustrating that we are keeping the toy industry alive. It sure as hell isn't kids, and yet we're constantly suffering.
I was gonna say I can afford one of them, so I'll probably just get Quicksilver. So I'll do that. They got a payment plan for one figure? Did they do that yet? Because Joe Amato needs a payment plan on one figure, but fuck, we'll find out. So I'll be getting one of them. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, they look great.
Cool. At least that's cool. You're going to get one. I'm really looking forward to getting Buzzsaw myself, because I absolutely love that character. I love his color scheme. I just always loved the character anyway. Just a big robotic Buzzsaw Warrior all together. I'm like, oh my
Oh,
god.
they all look great. It's just
They all look great. Steelheart, I thought was a nice touch throwing her in there,
Yeah.
and Quicksilver is my favorite of the
It's just
SilverHawks.
we're getting SilverHawks in 7-inch, 11-inch scale. You know that's awesome in and of itself. And you guys can see over on my right here, I've made the space for those Thundercats Ultimates, and also some of you. If you really pay attention to the backgrounds of what we got, I got rid of the Detolf that had my NECA turtles in it because I put that with all my other turtle shit, and in its place, all my real Ghostbusters, which is basically a complete collection. Other than the Ectoglow Ghostbusters, I got everything else.
from the 80s and 90s. Rich some bitch. Spoiled fucker. Hey, so yeah, no, look, I'm glad you got the spots over there and you're all ready for it, Nathan.
That's Eternia playset as a kid. Like, you ain't got no room to talk.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got like everything Masters related when you were a kid, so.
Yeah, Joe's even got more than I do in terms of the the stuff that's released in Europe. I don't have. Well, I got some of the accessory packs. So Joe cannot be throwing stones here. I'm the only one that that has a right to be pissed off at both of you.
And just a heads up, I don't know if it came across on my camera, but a couple minutes ago, my power, like I saw the light
flickered again.
Saw the light flicker. I'm like, oh, fuck, not again, please, no.
It'll happen right when we start
Kevin
talking
Smith
about...
is trying to get us taken off the air. That's what is happening.
Speaking of Kevin Smith, we're going to talk about Revelation right now, which I'll give my first opinion.
We're going to move to that already? You guys, you don't want to bullshit about anything else before we start deep diving into this?
I'm sure we're going to bullshit either during or after. It always happens, but might as well go right into it. Now, of course, seen the trailer that came out just last week, and I thought the art, animation, looked fantastic. Had absolutely no issues with it. Now, of course, I know our buddy Grimbot here in the chat room. Now, he's somebody that draws shit. He's an animation artist. He can see more details than I can. I see more details within figures, so it's always different. So I'll say stuff that'll probably piss him off. There's things I might say that Tyler won't agree with, and you know what? That's good, because we can have disagreements while still just trying to be civil here.
Yeah, I won't feel the need to call Joe or Nathan a bunch of fucking haters or toxic people because their opinion is different than mine.
Which I will get to something along those lines here in a bit. But anyways, I thought the art of the characters and the animation looked great. I didn't have a problem with it. I love seeing his H on his chest for He-Man, but it all looks good. It was cool seeing Clamp Champ. It was cool, seeing some of the vehicles that we never had, like Bashosaurus. But here's my only nitpick about all the stuff. Now, when the Mike Young Productions had their cartoon for He-Man, they did that CGI stuff. Anytime there was vehicles or anytime there was like the Doom Seekers or anything that was like tech-like, they like to do the CGI. And admittedly, I was not a fan of that back then. It just didn't do it for me. But it looked like they at least tried to sell shade over it. This one, like when they showed Landshark, I swear to you, I thought they put a fucking toy there. It looks so weird. And it started being really noticeable the more times I seen it. I was like, God, I don't like that. Bashosaurus kind of looks okay, but Castle Grayskull, which is the most iconic thing in the whole lore of Masters, next to He-Man and the Power Sword, that needs to be organic, creepy, just like you've seen on the box art back in the day, the books, the cartoon, Filmation cartoon. And this looks, again, just plain, bland, really generic, computer-generated. Like I said, this is me just giving honest opinions of things I like, things I didn't. Story, we still have heard lots of rumors on the story. Yes, we'll see what it's like when it's finished. So I'm not going to touch on the story. I'm touching on what I've seen.
Can I take a second?
Oh, yeah.
But you can't.
Story,
well, yeah, we'll still do it. But like for me, I was just going to touch on the things of what I've seen. I like the art, like the animation. Wasn't a fan of the CG stuff. And then you guys can talk about all your stuff, what you want. Go ahead into everything. I'll talk about the fandom because there's something I did about New Adventures and other stuff on my wall just to show examples.
I can't wait to dig into that.
All right.
I can't wait.
So you guys go ahead with your opinion.
Here we go. So I agree with Joe. I like the look of it. I really do. I was watching it. I was like, you know what? This looks great. Does Mark Hamill sound too much like the Joker? Possibly. We got very minimal dialogue in this, by the way. I want to stress that. I can't stress that enough. We're not seeing how all these other characters are going to sound, if it's really going to fit, if it's going to stick out like a sore thumb. But I liked how it looked. Now, I wasn't a fan, and I want to make sure that I get the title of the song right because a lot of people fuck this up. I wasn't a fan of them using Holding Out for a Hero by Bonnie Tyler in the trailer. I didn't think that made much sense, but that song has been stuck in my head since that trailer came out, so I guess mission accomplished there. the thing that I think that people are completely glossing over, and I think that was the whole purpose of what they did with the trailer, is to here's He-Man, here's Skeletor, and I'm gonna read this to you guys because some of you might not even know. So here is the official synopsis. The War for Eternia culminates in Master Universe Revelation, an innovative and action-packed animated series that picks up where the iconic characters left off decades ago. After a cataclysmic, that's a tough word to say, battle between He-Man and Skeletor, Eternia is fractured. And in other ones that I've read, they said like a final battle. Eternia is fractured and the Guardians of Grayskull are scattered. And after decades of secrets tore them apart, it's up to Teela to reunite the broken band of heroes and solve the mystery of the missing Sword of Power in a race against time to restore Eternia and prevent the end of the universe. So I want to stress this to you guys. Everything you saw in the trailer is either part of the first episode or just the first episode. Don't go into this thinking like it's going to be complete He-Man. The rug's going to get taken out from under you. It's going to go into here's Teela and all that shit, and people make a big deal about the haircut. I could care less, honestly, but just be prepared for that. And I don't think a lot of people are looking at it that way. They just here's the explosions. There's that vehicle. I know that. They do that.
Can I read something
They
too?
do that shit on purpose. Yeah, go for it, Joe.
Because it was back in PowerCon when they first showed, a while back when the first thing about this whole revelation had, and they had the write-up. Things were tweaked, and that's what got some people thinking, well, is this show going to be all about Teela? Because their screen cap, which we've mentioned years ago, I think it was almost a couple of years ago when this first was shown.
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago.
Yeah. We talked about it right here on Fans of Power because, of course, we're seeing all the stuff. Things were slightly tweaked because it said, like, a radical return to Eternia. Revelation is a direct sequel series to the classic Masters of the Universe, featuring fan favorites He-Man, Oracle, Cringer, and Man-at-Arms. The story pits our heroic warriors and guardians of Castle Grayskull against Skeletor, Evelyn, Beastman, and the vile legions of Snake Mountain. But after a ferocious final battle forever fractures Eternia, it's up to Teela to solve the mystery of the missing power sword in a race against time to prevent the end of the universe. Her journey will uncover the secrets of Grayskull at last. This is the epic He-Man and the Masters of the Universe saga fans have waited 35 years to see. And as you heard what Nathan said, it was almost the same, but they tweaked some parts to make it sound slightly different. About instead of He-Man or Teela, finding the power sword, now she's reuniting the broken band of heroes. The thing is, everybody was, of course, when you hear there's a new He-Man cartoon coming out, you're assuming this is all going to be about He-Man and all the Masters of the Universe. In this trailer we've seen, it looks like they're showing a lot of badass battles and action, a lot of stuff with He-Man. But yes, as Kevin Smith even said, the first 5 episodes might feel kind of more familiar to what we knew, but the next 5, that's when there's changes and it feels different. And make it almost seem like it's supposed to be more adult and grown up, but that's probably when He-Man's going to be gone. And it will be all Teela. I'm assuming if we're lucky, we will get maybe 3 transformations of Adam to He-Man, if that.
Mm-hmm.
There's one.
It's all gonna be in that first episode. Well, I have a good feeling about that.
The first. Oh yeah, we'll have in the first or first 2, you'll see the one transformation, and at the end, when he returns, you'll see it again. So this isn't like actually a new series to where there's one-off episodes or even continuity like how Mike Young Productions did with MYP. This is basically a movie broken into 10 episodes, and it just has a story arc that goes all the way through. So if you're looking to have a new He-Man cartoon with one-off adventures all the time, this ain't going to happen. So you're right, there's not going to be He-Man, and that's what's sad. It's like we need to see all of them, He-Man and all of them. But if we're going to have to sit through a bunch of boring shit, which again, maybe I'm wrong, but I doubt it. But if we have to sit a whole bunch of stuff, oh God, are they ever going to get to the fucking point? I don't know. And I just hope it isn't wrecked by just slowing, bumbling, boring talking, nothing going on. It's just, I'm assuming it's probably what we're going to get. But yeah, we are expecting to see, we want He-Man and everybody, not just He-Man sidelined and out almost the entire series, so to speak. That would just, it's anticlimactic when you're sitting there just waiting to have your hero there all the time and he's not.
I mean, I guess you could give him, I don't want to say give them credit, but I guess that with them trying to take a different approach to it instead of it being the same old, same old. Like, I understand the intricacies of maybe we should make this something that is familiar, but we got to change it up and make it different and make it to where it's going to appeal to those people that are going to sit and binge watch it in one setting kind of thing. Is it the right move? Probably not in the grand scheme of things, but it is what it is.
Can I give an example?
Yeah.
It was like when they did that one run of comics years ago, DC for Masters of the Universe, and I think that ran for 16, 17 issues. God, it really drug out. It's like, oh my God, they're doing nothing. Then you finally see one little thing for a second, and it was over. It's like, I can't stand this kind of shit. Again, I don't mind continuity. And as for story arcs, 2-issue, 3-issue thing, okay, I get it. But then we get back to the stuff. But 16 issues, and again, remember everybody, we're just doing predictions of thoughts. I'm not saying this is what is going to happen. It's just, what if it did? I'm hoping not. I would love that if He-Man was, almost in all the episodes, kicking ass. And okay, if there was like 2-3 episodes where he wasn't there and they're trying to find whatever to get back together, do their fighting and saving Eternia, cool. But if they drag it out a lot, it's just going to make people lose interest. Again, these are just thoughts and predictions, not saying this is fact.
But it's going to be a thing where it's like one long cohesive, because that's how shit works now. It's not, if anyone went into this expecting, well, here's going to be one story, the next episode will be a completely different. It's not. It's all going to be like one big movie. It's one story, one thing. It's all there. It's not going to be separate stuff at all.
Well, hey, Andy Yelsey in the chat room. I mean, he knows stuff about these things with Netflix and things. He's good with the business and knows the shit. He says Netflix has issued directives to all of studios that create content for them that for all adult or older kid content, they want an ongoing arc throughout the series. Yeah. He said, but for preschool series, they approve standalone episodes, but really steer the older series to keep ongoing arcs. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, because
you could probably expect that from the other He-Man series. Yeah, that will probably have like one off.
Yeah, that's the one that would be the standalone kind of thing if you had to pick and choose. But we haven't let Tyler give his thoughts yet.
Yeah, go ahead. 3, 2, 1. Explosion.
I don't know why this is saying that YouTube is not receiving enough video when OBS is telling me that, like, hey, this thunderstorm fucked everything up. Go ahead, Tyler.
I think we were just given something shiny to look at. I don't see this as anything more. I watched the trailer twice. Animation looked beautiful, but that wasn't going to be a shocker because we all knew who was doing the animation. So that's not like, oh my God, like I wasn't expecting this. It looked good. It was cool to see Stridor and Clamp Champ in the trailer. But the music, that fucking song, just it castrated. I need to feel badass. I need to feel goosebumps when I see He-Man in action. I need to have music that accompanies the ultimate alpha male, and that fucking song pretty much just took He-Man's nuts right there in front of us and just snipped them right off. Took them and threw them into the abyss below Grayskull. I fucking hated that song. I've always hated that song. And it was the wrong song to play to get you pumped up for He-Man. It's just like someone picked a very generic 80s song and slapped it on an 80s throwback series. But even seeing like Clamp Champ and Stridor's in there, you see Scareglow. I'm like, I have not forgotten what they've already said what the series is going to be about. So none of this means nothing to me. Seeing the shots of the various cool vehicles and Triclops and Trapjaw and Faker, it's like it's almost like we're all being duped into thinking this series is going to be something that we're really not getting, because the smart thing about any of these shows is you want positive hype. You don't want people pissing and moaning, complaining about it. So, which is why this trailer comes off as nothing more than a fan service. Show images of things to these fucking nerds, so they'll say, "Oh, I recognize that. I had that. Oh man, where's my lotion?" So, yeah, the animation was quite nice, but I didn't forget that first synopsis we were given years ago, and then this other synopsis was dropped too. Was just like, okay, nothing's changed. It sounds like it's going to be a highly Tila-centric series, which sounds like that's more agenda-based than anything else, because anybody that really knows He-Man and the Master Universe, there's a shitload of characters that if you really want to build character development, you don't need to pick, that's what the good thing about, is like you felt like He-Man was on adventures with various people. And that you could have, Man-at-Arms go through an issue. You could have Orko go through an issue. You could have Adam/He-Man go through. Everybody could go through a whole lot of issues where you felt like you could really expand on that. Like, it just doesn't sound very safe and promising when they're making a point to tell you that Tila is essentially the star of this show in He-Man and the Master of the Universe. In a very short-lived series like this, I don't like that at all. It scares the hell out of me. I'm not going to change my mind on that until we see it. But, they've already announced, like, things that will be addressed in the series a while back that had people quite worried. I forgot about that either. So a shiny new trailer does not make me change my mind that,
but
some of the like finding out recently that Ralph Garman is playing the voice of Fisto. He's a fucking DJ and a friend of Kevin Smith who likes to brag about his Batman collection.
Who is he? What's Ralph Garman?
Ralph Garman. I think I don't know. He's a fucking idiot anyway. I never like anything he has to say anyway. He's just friends with Kevin Smith.
Oh, I've never heard of him. That's why I didn't know if he was from cartoons.
Exactly. And I'm like, wait. The guy is not a voice actor. He's a DJ, out in Hollywood, hobnobbing with the Hollywood crew. He loves Batman, likes to brag about it. And I'm like, you cast him to play the gruff and tough Fisto. Just when you see things like that, I'm sorry, me personally, I worry. I worry so much that a lot of all these characters I treasure and love, they're being cast with Kevin Smith's buddies. That's not something to be happy about. You're not casting the right actors. You're casting people that you want to give them a job. Which, yes, it's sweet on Kevin Smith's. Hey, Joe. Kevin Smith and that goofy-ass smirk he does.
Yeah, that screech face. I've said I've known nothing about the guy until, basically this announcement came out. Remember, I always go to you two because you both mentioned you know everything about Kevin Smith. I said,
he is known for giving his buddies work in all of his movies. That's what he does. He works with a group, but
it's never been a problem. And I'm still like with Kevin Smith, whatever, who cares? The main thing here that we're going to touch on him briefly is that he's just that bridge to the nerds like we had mentioned last week. He's that guy. Yeah. He had comic book men, people are aware of him.
He's a hype man.
He is just a warm body that people will be like, that's Kevin Smith. He worked on this. He did this. If he says it's good, I believe he's doing exactly what they want him to do. And there was
that.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I just it ain't so much that he screwed up the date.
Yeah.
It's more about constantly pushing that he's such a fan of this series. When I know I listened to Kevin Smith's podcast for years, The Fat Man on Batman. I listened to it till I got fed up with him and Ralph Garman shitting all over the Michael Keaton films. Like, fuck you guys, go blow Ben Affleck because that's all you want to do is just praise anything he's in. And I said it before, and I'll say it again here. When he is talking to Paul Dini about Paul's time on He-Man, there is not a single mention of Kevin being interested in He-Man, no knowledge of He-Man, or really an understanding of what it was. Paul's doing all the talking about He-Man, And I remember that clip of him saying that he's not a fan of He-Man, and fuck Mean Chen too, because Mean Chen, of course, if you guys ever listen to anything that he does too, he so desperately wants to be a part of any conversation as long as it's attention-based. I've listened to Tell Him Steve Day since the beginning. He's been caught at saying a lot of fake shit, and then when they call him out, he's like, well, wasn't it that? Like, he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. So
that's what I wanted to get to, basically. I did want to talk about my, kind of first impressions, obviously, in seeing with Kevin Smith. And it is talking about some of the stuff that you stated. I just remembered, on one of the episodes of that, what people said, that comic book man or whatever, when he says, I'm not a fan of He-Man.
It's a shitty show because it's Tell Him Steve Day, but with that. If you listen to Tell Him Steve Day, which I still do, phenomenal, but Kevin's not on there. Occasionally he is, but,
And all that show is just a bunch of horse shit anyway, like any other reality TV junk that goes out
fake,
there.
And they even talk about how fake the damn show is. Everything on it's just, oh my God. It makes you embarrassed to be a comic book fan because of all this And that's AMC's fault too. You know,
Yeah, because
this is what they.
It's not my OCD or anything, but it's obviously the podcast we do here where we're talking about everything Masters of the Universe related. How many times have I given Tyler shit and Tyler's given me shit if we might fuck up a name, not know this from an episode? It's just what we do because we like sharing everything from Masters possible. So here comes Kevin Smith, and where he, after they showed that trailer. And there's the people that'll defend him, and here, that's fine, they can, but I'm going to say my piece. He sat there and he's said he remembers coming home, rushing home to watch He-Man on TV. And he said from 81 to 82. And yes, I immediately caught that and brought it up. I was like, the cartoon didn't come out to 83. And some people were like, well, Joe, come on, it's been 40 years.
I thought it was funny. I thought in the grand scheme
but here, let me finish. So like I said, I was like, okay, yeah, maybe he forgot, whatever. But here's the thing. Not even the toys came out in 81. If you look at the back of the He-Man figure, it says 81, so do the mini comics. They were stamped and dated a year in advance. They're released in 82. So he was watching a cartoon before the toys even came out. But I digress. Let me get to the next part of this. So he's such a super fan. But the thing is, if you are supposedly given us a cartoon, as he always loved to quote, a direct sequel to the original, you better know the damn filmation date then. So that only makes you look clueless and uninformed, which that does piss me off. And then also with being an admitted I don't like He-Man fan. When you do that stuff, it only comes across as, yeah, we could see you're a guy there that obviously, yeah, would you like to do a new series? They're going to pay me big money. You bet your ass. And now I'm a big super He-Man fan. Where was he in any of the He-Man forums before this revelation was announced? Did you ever see him in any He-Man forums?
Come
any
on,
of the Facebook
Joe.
groups,
Now you're just picking at stupid shit. Like if someone's backed up a dump truck full of money and be like, "Hey, talk us up," and be like, "Fuck yeah, I'm not gonna care about all the nerds that are like, well, did you know that actually this came out 6 months before you said you were watching it? What did you like? It's stupid. It's so dumb."
No, I know what you're saying, but like I said, I just called out his supposed fandom that he said he's had all these years, which he didn't. But you're right. If somebody's going to pay you big money, I guess you are going to become that super fan then. And yes, I understand that. But yeah, I made a couple things, which led to the only thing I did was post. I was like, hey, this guy, didn't know the date right. I became toxic.
Oh yeah, which in itself was stupid too. Like it's funny. It's funny. It's supposed to be funny. The whole thing of splicing in the clips of him being like, I don't like He-Man, or however that clip went from comic. It's funny. Right. It's hilarious in that context. Right. But everyone is just so quick to harp on. Like you immediately in your mind, you're like, well, this is when the toys came out, but the show didn't come out until 83. Do you think the other people that watched the other, because the trailer on Netflix had like 1 million views. Do you think 3/4 of those fucking people know any of the dates of anything? No, fuck no. They don't care. Netflix doesn't care. Kevin Smith doesn't care. All they care about is that 3/4. The fucking 100,000 of people that are hardcore. Fuck them. They don't give a shit about any of you guys. Period. They could care less. I don't know. Was that too angry?
No, that was fine. Again, am I going to want to fucking cancel Nathan for saying that? That's his opinion too. But what I did when I posted that, and I didn't say a negative thing to Kevin Smith, like, this guy's a dickhead. He's full of shit.
I mean, he is full of shit. Like, he's completely full of shit.
Like I said,
that's the part that bothers me the most, is that, look, you don't have to be a fan of something, but if you were asked to come in and participate, obviously you should have some sort of enthusiasm for your work. We all know, we all know he was never a fan of it, but for him to come in and make up all these stories, I take offense to that. It's like, look, we don't need you to make shit up.
Exactly.
That's the part I'm like, just say, I've been working on this. I'm really excited about it. I think fans who are, you don't need to make up shit. That's what I got a fucking problem with.
Yeah.
And that's what I got annoyed with. Yes, when he did that, I was like, you are not this super fan, so don't profess to be, like you said, making up stories. Just promote the cartoon. Don't try to sound like you're a genius of it, and just promote it. Say, here's my new cartoon, Masters of the Universe Revelation. I hope you enjoy it. We're going to have this, we're going to have that. But when you're already saying direct sequel and it's not, you're giving wrong dates. It just makes you seem, again, like a fake fan. But let me get back to the toxic stuff real quick. So I became toxic. And then Grimbot made a post where he just showed basically a clip like of Kevin Smith saying this and then saying he didn't like He-Man. And then you look underneath. There was nobody saying, fuck Kevin Smith, fuck him, fuck him. None of that happened. But then it came to somebody that made a post saying, like, basically, Jesus Christ, just enjoy the cartoon. Like, they were ripping into the fans. I was like, all right, time for Joe to do his little test that he always likes to do. So I went to my wall and I said, okay, Masters of the Universe fans, here's today's question. What are your thoughts on the 1990s New Adventures of He-Man cartoon? Did you love it, hate it, or do you have mixed feelings about it? Discuss. Well, at that time when I did the little clip like earlier today, there was like about 150 some comments. 75 of those comments were dislike comments and saying it was shit, it was garbage, trash. They were fucking ripping into it. 33 people had some positive comments. 40 were like, I never watched the cartoon. But here's the difference with that. One of the people who got pissed about Grimbot's post, where there was no insulting, he immediately ripped into the nerds and saying, just watch the cartoon, Jesus Christ, toxic fans, all this shit. You know what's funny about mine? 75 horrible fucking comments, and not a single person in those posts that liked it. Nobody said, hey, why are you being so toxic to the 75 people? You know what? They let them have their opinion because some people don't like it. And as you've seen, the majority didn't like New Adventures. But it's like, that's how it's always been in our fandom and any fandom. There's things you like, you don't like. But why wasn't there a single person called out for being toxic out of 75 that were ripping it to shit? But on Grimbots, where nobody said, fuck Kevin Smith and this is shit, immediately somebody came to the aid to say, you're a bunch of nerds like the fucking cartoon. And then the other ones, this is toxic, I'm tired of this shit.
It's an easy answer.
One of them,
It's an easy answer. New Adventures is 30 fucking years old. This is brand new shit. That's what happens. People only get toxic and fight each other over the new stuff. And that's what bothers me so much. Is that it's no one can let go of it. It's either the people that want to nitpick every single detail, or it's the people that are like, shut up and take it and like it. And I'm like, why can't people just... It's a cartoon. It's a fucking cartoon. Don't argue with anonymous people on the internet over a fucking cartoon. Just, if you like it, watch it. If you don't like it, turn the shit off. Like...
I mean, and I saw a lot of people that participate in those conversations, listen to this podcast, and they dumped on New Adventures. They even dumped on the live-action movie. So, I didn't come out and knock the new trailer. Nathan didn't, and Joe didn't. And, of course, everyone's going to go after Deucin for it, Grimbot.
Well...
it just goes without saying.
I think it's just... I think he just has a way with words that find a way to make people not happy.
But because everyone was so quick, and I when Joe posted his stuff about Kevin, I saw people that were, on his case or on everyone else's case for saying something that, you know what, I don't like this, or you know what, the hell with Kevin Smith. Like, pretty much telling people they don't have a right to be upset with what they're seeing or dislike what they saw. And then you see them say this stuff about New Adventures, who I've been a champion of since its inception. The cartoon's not the greatest, but I love the mythology and the toy line. And, of course, we all know how I feel about the 87 movie. So now all those people that went out of the way to, get sand in their vagina over anybody who doesn't feel the greatest about this new trailer, I get to call you all toxic right here on the podcast and just save myself the trouble. Because that was not very fair to anybody else.
Awesome.
Joe doing that, I knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
And it was going to out everybody that, wanted to be ugly for someone had a different opinion than I did. And all we're saying is, no one's saying you can't like it. No one's saying you can't hate it. All we're saying is we don't give a fuck.
I mean,
whether you like it or not, you love it, great. Go on. If you hate it, go on.
And great. It's a trailer. It's not. We haven't even seen the show yet. Like, guys, wait until the shit's out, and then I guess you can really have it out after it's out there for everybody to consume.
Yeah, you can waste all your time, all damn day, checking your damn phone, checking your iPad, your laptop, whatever, and go after,
It's so dumb. It's so dumb. Guys.
Ass Eater 91, and you guys can duke it out and say, "Oh, I hate you," and you're just using all the trendy bullshit. Like, everyone that likes to use, "Oh, you're toxic, you're a hater," like fuck you, man. It just sounds so pretentious, and you're so trendy and modern. You'd probably drink, your trendy Starbucks coffee and bullshit too. It just,
Starbucks
like
coffee's
your
not a
opinion.
trendy thing, man. I've seen plenty of rednecks around here going and ordering.
Nah, but just
I'll
people who
take a
hang
venti,
out. Oh,
whatever it's called.
get the hell out of here. You know what I'm talking about. He's just trying to rouse me up here. That's all he's doing. We'll address it after the camera, and I'll kick him in the nuts. But it's just one of the things, like, your opinion is no better than mine, and mine is no better than yours.
That's the thing.
Same thing.
It's not. No one's better than anybody here at
No,
all.
but
period.
Yeah, and that's why I don't like to engage in all this shit. I think it's commendable that Joe was willing to do it because he had a reason behind it, and it pretty much outed everybody that was getting their panties with skid marks in a bind because something negative about this brand new trailer. Kill them all.
No, I think just the main problem that most of us are having with it is just the fact that Kevin Smith's saying too much, and it's wrong, and it's wrong, and it makes him look worse to us. Not anybody else, but to us.
Yeah, but also I have a problem. Like, look, there's a shitload of casual fans who don't know that much about He-Man. That's gonna be the bread.
Exactly.
We are.
That's what
in a small.
That's what I said earlier.
So
that's what Netflix wants. Yeah. That's what any of these. Now that all of these corporations have all of their fingers and all of these properties that we grew up with as kids, and know that if they play their cards right and do it correctly, that they can have that success that the MCU has had the last 12 years or more, 15 years, however long it's been now. That's what they want. They don't give a fuck about hardcore fan bases. As long as everyone's there, they get the clicks, they get the views, they're done. Move on. What's next? SilverHawks live action film. Yes, let's do that. Bionic 6. No one's thought about that in a while. Let's redo that, but let's retool these things so it works in a modern setting that will turn off any of the people that have given a shit about it over the last 30 years. That's just where we are now. Period.
It's just
how it is.
Makes us pretty much we're extinct. The hardcore fan base is extinct. I think what few of us that are left can all agree to that it's pretty much casual fans that are running the show right now, and they're not really running anything. They're just the ones that are that excited about whatever's thrown out.
And as much as it turns a lot of the hardcore fan base off, not all, but it divides it that way. That at least people are excited about He-Man again, right? Even if it's not particularly your cup of tea, to have other people be that excited about it and for that light to be put back on the property, that has to at least mean something.
I still think the consensus with most people is they think He-Man is a homophobic joke. I still feel like people like to look at He-Man as making fun of him because he wears pink and purple, so therefore he must be a gay man. Or someone that didn't know or like He-Man at all makes a really bad YouTube video and it becomes, a fucking, meme. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not, I still feel like the consensus, even with Mattel, is that He-Man is a joke. This cartoon, you see, punching and fighting, but I still feel like we're probably going to get a lot of force-fed bad humor into the show. Things that probably don't feel very appropriate for something that should be a Conan-esque animated series of the most badass villains versus the most badass heroes. Am I making assumptions? Yes, I am. I'm not afraid to admit that. But based on what we have been getting with these properties over the years, it's not like these companies are giving something that is a major achievement in terms of not only did we appease the hardcore fans, but we brought in new fans as well. Like, I'm not afraid to admit, we're not important to these people. We have kept the property alive with the internet and things like that. We do a podcast every week that is constantly getting people excited or hope that they're getting excited about He-Man, and we don't matter. I'm not afraid to admit that. I am not a voice of, or I have a force behind my voice at all. Like, I'm thankful that anybody's willing to listen to me on a podcast on a Sunday night. So I'm not claiming that I know everything, but I sat and watched Turtles, Transformers, G.I. Joe, and other things. Marvel and DC have all been mishandled by people getting into the mix and trying to make the soccer mom and the jock And the girly girl who can give two fucks about anything, but as long as she can take a picture of herself at the latest Avengers movie for Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, that's
with
all
that
that fucking
hashtags.
matters.
Yeah, as long as they're
it's all about living in the
and the
moment here,
influencers.
and then you move on to the next.
Yeah,
thing.
well, it's like it had been mentioned here in the chat room, and I guess that's why Joe was already in my ear that night. Come on, we got to go live Friday, please, because there were all those people that had already did the shitty trailer reaction channels where they watch it and
I hate that. God,
and they
so
fake
lame.
their enthusiasm because they have to get all the clicks and everything. And we are never going to do that here.
No, because you know what? I am thankful that we had such a great episode last week, but we are a very niche podcast, and we're thankful to have what we have here. We are constantly pushing the hardcore fandom. We are not. I casual fans. This podcast is not meant for you. This is going to go over your head.
Well, but it's here if you want to learn things.
If you want to become, if you want to learn more. But we are not, a very generic. Well, you see them all over the place. They're just a couple of guys sitting around with a bunch of pops and generic toys sitting all around, and they say, "Yeah, that was really cool, man. Like, I really like that skeleton." And he does that funny meow thing in that one episode with that guy with the orange hair. Yeah, he's really cool. Like, fuck you.
Yeah, I like the Red Letter Media thing where they do the podcast and they got all that shit there and like, cool. Yeah, that's cool. That's real cool. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Yes. Like, you're not fooling anybody, and you know what? If that's what you're into, no, that does not make you any less of a person or anything like that. But when he meant this is our bread and butter. This is what the three of us devote our time to.
Your bread and butter. I mean, I devote my time to it, but I'm saying,
you're here. I don't want to just deliberately leave you out.
You can. Joe does all the time. It's fine.
Joe and me. This was my first love, and it's probably Joe's as well. Outside from cheap food.
And hey, man, shout out to all those girls at the Apple Tree. Don't.
Oh, of course.
Can't leave them out either.
But, again, you're right. Anybody that is new to watching us, I mean, this is what we do, and anybody that's always been here, they know we're always here just to inform as much as we can. And as we've seen, I was talking about a trailer, not the cartoon, because again, we haven't seen the cartoon yet. And I said there was the things I like and don't like, but sometimes, like hearing about the CG stuff, that might stick into somebody's head. But for example,
that was really jarring in the trailer.
Land Shark was weird. It stuck out horribly.
And
some people said,
it looked. It did not look like what the hell.
It was bizarre, but yeah, Land Shark has to be the worst looking thing. But otherwise, I said I did like everything. And if you notice, since we do a lot of this historian stuff between Tyler and I, like I said, we know so much about Masters that it's something that when we see, we have to speak about it. We don't want to give you anything less than our honest opinions about something. I don't want to be fake. I never want to be phony. Last week when we had Michael on, do you think I was a dick when I told him that when he was calling those pieces of art Earl Norem the wrong thing and I said it was Gino? It's a tick for me. I see something, and even though I had fun, I love the guy. It was great. I was giving him shit, but I still wanted to let him know that was Gino Diachile. But am I an asshole for saying that? Just like when I was pointing out Kevin Smith things that maybe his fandom. Am I a dick?
You're toxic. You're an asshole. You're toxic. You got to be with the modern times.
I don't want you to have gotten the wrong impression when I did the thing of pushing the glasses up and doing that. That was more of a Game Chasers thing of, oh, well, this person's going to call me out. That is not a slight on you or anyone else that really wants to do it. But I'm just saying that those elements combined is what really got me annoyed most of all this weekend. It's just people wanting to, or people taking you too seriously for that video that was posted. And people being mad. I'm like, it's funny. It's hilarious to me.
Yeah, and it is. That's why I did it. I did nothing. When I said it, I didn't say a negative thing about Kevin Smith. I just pointed out, just like I did to Michael last week when I said, you got the name of that artist wrong. I will always point it out because, again, if you're new to this channel and if you've been here for a while, we always talk about the history of Masters. We want to try to make sure you guys know everything as accurate as possible and not give you false or wrong information. That is why I'm always going to do this show. And if I'm ever to fuck up, Tyler's there to probably catch me. I might catch Tyler. Or fuck, maybe nobody caught me. And then somebody might say in the comment, Joe, you should have said this. And you know what? I'd be like, you're right. I fucked up. And I'll say
Yeah.
it doesn't hurt my feelings.
No.
I don't give a fuck. But we're here to, like I said, inform and also have fun. That's what this whole show is always about. So, I mean, it's just like I said. Here's crossing fingers that the cartoon could actually be good. I want it to be good.
I
'cause of
think we
course I
all
want
we
Fast-
all want it to be good.
Yeah, we don't benefit from having a shitty cartoon. Like you,
Exactly.
As if like everyone's acted like we get a paycheck if it fails.
I
Like,
wish we did.
you know,
Wait, someone back
you
up
know.
that dump truck full of money to fuck, man. You want to?
Yeah, we could screw up dates and I could sit there and say, "Hey, put me on Voltron." I could sit there and make up a bullshit like I watched Voltron every day when I came home from school from 1988 to 1993, and I bought all the toys in 1989, like just making up shit. You know, it's just I don't need to do any of that. It's just insulting your audience and the people that are passionate about this stuff. I have no tolerance for that. But
Did you guys in the trailer, going back to the trailer and some of the stuff that happened in there, when the Bashosaurus deal is coming down on He-Man and he catches it and you see him have that little smirk and then talk, I liked that part in it.
Oh, I did. I liked it. I mean, I had no problem with it. I mean, plus, because I'm thinking, fuck, it's Bashosaurus finally in the cartoon. This is awesome. Why is Beastman on it, though? Shouldn't that be for a hero?
I
Shouldn't
imagine
it be
he
for He-Man?
probably
But
just
whatever.
jumped in like during the heat of battle.
Right.
It's
Like,
it's
I
during
do wanna
that
see
big
that.
battle that's taking place in the first 10 minutes of the first episode, and then we won't see
Picture-
anybody.
yeah,
The
really,
rest of
you
it
can
becomes
picture-
Sarah Michelle Gellar's running the show, and
Yeah, like one of the heroic warriors came up in it, got out of it, then Beastman jumped in it, and yeah, I did like the element, and it was cool. It felt like the old days. It does look great, just not Landshark and not the fucking Sky/War Sled, whatever they want to call it. When Triclops was on, I was like, God, I didn't like that. So yeah, just a couple things I didn't like, but it looks good. I am hyped about hopefully seeing if it can rejuvenate and give some life back into Masters and people wanting to go into the toy aisles again, buying that shit like
No.
crazy.
Joe,
I mean?
Joe, no
If
one's
they're there.
in the toy aisles because it's a
Nothing's
waste.
Yeah,
there.
there's nothing there. There's never anything. Oh,
You know,
actually,
it's just the Transformers nobody wants and what few
But-
Marvel
I've never
figures
seen
that
G.I.
no one
Joe
wants in
ever.
place.
You guys-
yeah,
You guys always talk about G.I. Joe. I've never seen a single G.I. Joe in my Target ever.
I went in to our local Target this past Tuesday, and I shit you not, my jaw almost hit the floor. I walk in, there are 2 G.I. Joe classified figures there, and they're both Major Blood, and I'm like, holy shit, I almost had a heart attack. So I grabbed them, and this is not an exaggeration either. I grabbed them off the shelf. I go to Snapchat to send it, like Emily gives a shit, but I'm gonna take a picture and send it to her anyway, because god damn it, this is my hobby.
It's Major Blood.
It's Major Blood, and there's
man.
2 of them. There's 2 of them. Take the picture, send it to her. As soon as I do that, there is a guy that comes around the corner, and I look at it, just quick glance, and he's staring at me, a hole right through my head, like he was about to beat me up and take these. So I had him out for the picture, put them both down, put them under my arm, like I'm fucking carrying a
Did you walk
like a
the other way?
football. Oh yeah, I was like, yeah, all right, it's time to go. Because you don't know with these guys. This dude could be. He's an eBay scalper, and this is his living. That I just took away from him because I had to get this Major Blood figure for myself and grab one for Tyler. So, oh man, and he was kind of scary looking too. He was like a shorter dude, but it was like, yeah, he had muscles like Tyler, but he was about 5'6". And I think Tyler and I are pushing close to 6 feet. I think about 5'10", 5'11". Tyler and I are about the same height, roughly. And
yeah,
so
I
he
always thought we were about
basically
6
would have
foot, though,
beat-
but I
probably would have beat the shit out of
measured,
him.
but
yeah, no, I had to get out of there. I was like, all right, time to go. It's been a good day.
Well, it's good you at least had a find. Like I said,
Yeah.
I've never seen any of them.
But they are impossible. Along with anybody that's after Origins, you're never going to find this stuff in stores. It's and it just I don't know how much longer this stuff's going to go on before it really becomes it's not fun anymore. I know it's hard to push away your fandom when you're really into something. You really want every character. I mean, I've come to the conclusion, like I'm not going to own every classified figure because they're not available, and I'm not supporting a Nazi scalper on eBay who's asking $80 for Beachhead. I'm not doing it.
But we got most of them. I mean, I have Beachhead, but yeah.
I don't have the Baroness or
I
Beachhead.
need
And,
I need a Baroness, but they need to re-release her without the motorcycle. I would be
Can
more
I
than
say
happy
something
to
real
buy
quick?
that. Yes.
I'm sorry. I sat there and on my screen. I felt like a bug flew, and I kept trying to wipe it.
It's
M3.
those doo-doo stains, Joe. You got you
No,
got to
M3.
clean up after yours. You got to wipe your ass every now and again.
No. M3 Reviews made a comment, said, "Hey guys, great conversation. So glad to see Joe's internet is working. Sheesh." And he put an icon. I don't know what the hell it is. I thought that was some shit that just popped up on my screen. I was trying to wipe off, and it's some icon. God damn, I'm an idiot. I don't even know
is
what
it the
that is.
poo emoji or something like that?
I don't know what that thing is. It looks purple, but I'm trying to wipe it off. I just for a second seen. I was like, "Damn, there's a bug on the screen." Jesus Christ! I get as distracted as Homer looking at a squirrel in the yard. That's fucking terrible.
I could see
Go
Joe
ahead.
being easily distracted. I want to put this out there to everybody because I want to say that maybe the pre-order originally had sold out on these. They are back up if you guys want the Origins Attorney Royal Guard exclusive to Big Bad Toy Store. That is back up for pre-order.
Yeah, it's cool that that was a shocker, and it was only Big Bad. And I know that the day they went up, they were gone as quick. And I was like, I thought those were going to be up longer. But you're right. A few days later, I think Adult Collector David Clark, I think he put that up, and he said, "Yep, back at Big Bad."
Yeah, so
and
it's
they
still
even
there.
have them, I think, on Entertainment Earth.
Yeah.
Entertainment Earth has them too.
By this point, though, I'm still, even though Origins hadn't been going as long as Classifieds, but I'm still shocked that Mattel and Hasbro are still underestimating the distribution. Like, they keep fucking it up, not only in terms of like how many they're sending out, but they're just, it feels like they're underselling everything. They're not.
But
like,
I don't know. We're not there like with the classifieds. I went to one of our Walmarts today, and there was a Lady J. I'm like, well, I already got it. This is pointless now. But I'm curious how often Target, especially, are getting something, and it's just those same people going back and buying them up so they can resell them. That has to be all it is. I don't know.
That's why I wish. That's why I never wanted any of these things to go back out to retail. I strictly want to do my pre-order or available online, and that is it. This running around and having to deal with people who get up at the ass crack of dawn and hit every department store while the rest of us are earning a living or sleeping like Nathan. And, we have no...
Hey, I earn my living at a different time of the day than you do, so I have to... I'm not... I mean, if I'm up
at that time, I'm making a living. You're sleeping from making a living. So these people are in the store,
or I'm up drunk and I'm texting you, or I'm up drunk and I'm texting you, like I did the other day.
Yeah,
I'm like texting him all this shit about, oh man, last week was so great, and it's like 8:30 in the morning, and I'm like drunk, and I should probably go to bed, but it's the weekend. This is a weekend, man.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Plus my company's back on strike again, which is details I don't need to get into really, but so I'm just enjoying the time off. I'm not saying I'm getting drunk every day. That is still a weekend thing. I will never change that. Can't do that. That's when it becomes a problem, right?
Yep.
Well, I would think so.
Well, quickly, I was going to say, if you guys in the chat room want to start asking us questions now, go ahead. We'll answer those. And while you're typing some stuff out, yeah, it would be, for me, I would like it if Origins could possibly have it to where you could just pre-order stuff online. And I know they do that with Big Bad, but I mean, strictly if Mattel, like how they had Matty Collect or anything, reason being, as long as they wouldn't jack the prices up drastically, because it seems like anytime you have exclusives and or things just online, it's a higher price. I just think of the logic. I have been to a Target, even though it's close to me, like probably every other day. I probably am wasting $15-$20 worth of gas. It's like you think, hey, you can just apply
it's not
that.
Like, well, and it's not like, at least NECA, and you say what you want about them too, they're still putting out stuff in retail, but they are at least acknowledging that the demand for a lot, especially the Ninja Turtle stuff, the demand is so high, they are doing pre-orders and also selling it at retail. While Mattel and Hasbro, because Hasbro, of course, anything to put on their website, Hasbro Pulse, it gets scalped immediately. Like, nobody has an opportunity to buy on there anymore. At least with the G.I. Joe stuff, but why Mattel is not offering that to fans in some form or another, or other outlets, like how much more longer does this have to go on where they want people to buy these retro toys, but they don't want to put out enough? You want to constantly be underselling. Are they afraid that, like, you idiots are going to order way too much and they get stuck in all these retailers because no one buys them? Like, well, you'll have that problem already because you won't, distribute, the correct case ratio to anybody.
Hell,
But
Canada, I always say it's so interesting. They are getting
we have
masters.
to move to Canada or do our
Yeah,
podcast
because
in
damn,
Canada, you know?
Andy Yowsey, Andy, who's in the chat room, he's always getting the stuff, but they already got the wave with Fisto and Faker and Evelyn.
I'd
And
love to
whoever
live
the
in.
hell's
I'd love
Kazan.
to live in Canada. I love hockey.
Oh, and that Lords of Power Merman. But yeah, they get all the figures first. They get the wrestling / He-Man figures first. And those little carded Eternia minis
I'll
just
be right
flood
back,
up
guys. You keep
Canada.
going.
Go ahead. I mean, they flood up in Canada. I still haven't seen a single one of those Eternia minis here either, but they're always getting the Masters first. I think even some of their maybe GameStops, if I'm not mistaken, in Canada,
Yeah, I could
they're
see that.
even
I
selling.
could see that. I actually went to Dollar Tree today to check and see if I could get you some of those minifigures they have. Still haven't popped up yet. But a couple of Walmarts that I gone to over the weekend, I did see Masters of the WWE Universe figures. I saw the Stephanie McMahon and I saw the Bill Goldberg figure. Obviously, other collectors had come through and wiped everything out before I had a chance, but it was cool.
Did you get any?
No, I think honestly the only other one that I haven't come across that I would like would be the Jake the Snake Roberts one, because I would love to put him with the Snake
And
Men.
like I said, they have so much more creativity with those WWE figures.
They really do.
And what's even more, they do, and it seems like even the faces and the details. I have no no understanding of why for Evelyn and Tila for Origins. Tila's pretty okay. Evelyn's got just a goofy face, but something is always missing with the female faces when they do them in Masters. They look awkward for some reason. But on the flip side, that Stephanie McMahon / Evelyn, I was like, why is that such an amazing face sculpt? I said, and the paint job is beautiful. I was like, how is that possible? It seems like they got so much more detail into the WWE ones. I was like, well, could you put that effort into the origins on the heads, especially since that might be the concern of a lot of people sometimes is just the damn heads. But otherwise, yeah, it seems like Canada gets all the stuff first. I've seen other countries getting them as well too in cool displays. Hopefully they'll pop up here more often, but I'll try to hit the chat room now and see if I can find some of the questions. I see one from Gavin the Nerd, which again, this is one I'm going to probably have to pass to you guys.
Oh man,
I don't know these.
I
don't know these directors. Well, me and directors, I don't even know half these people. But he says, question: how would these directors handle Masters of the Universe? And he's saying, I'll just do a couple because there's a fucking lot here.
Just say them all.
Michael
it's
Bay,
not that many.
Okay, Michael Bay, James Cameron.
No.
Okay, George Lucas.
No.
And Tim Burton.
If we're talking
Tim Burton, early 90s.
Yeah, if we're talking Tim Burton, like mid 80s to like late 90s, sure.
Dang, what do you think he would have done? Like, let's say he would have had, hypothetically, if Masters was back around towards, let's just give it 1990, right on the nose, 1990. What kind of creepy, weird thing do you think he would have did? Do you think he would have made He-Man too creepy and weird?
No.
Or do you think he actually did a good job?
I think it would have went the Batman Returns route where He-Man is there, but he kind of takes a little bit of a back seat, and it would probably concentrate more on Skeletor. And I hate to say this because I do love Batman Returns, but probably try to make Skeletor too sympathetic or something that would sort of really bring that down.
Yeah, outside of the Joker, like Tim... I love Batman Returns too, but he may probably go that route. Well, but the live action film focuses more on Skeletor also. But you're not supposed to feel sorry for him. He's an asshole, and that's why you like him because he's a prick. Yeah. But I honestly don't think I would want to see a Tim Burton directed He-Man movie. Honestly, the one guy that I over the years I've wanted to I think he would have done a good job is Kevin Reynolds, who directed Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and The Count of Monte Cristo, and yes, he did direct Waterworld. But I'm
one of those people that actually liked it. I don't know why I liked Waterworld. Just I don't know.
I don't know. I saw it when it first came out. I was just kind of like, all right. Well, I guess I'll move on to something else. I didn't look at it and say this movie's a piece of shit. But I was expecting to see something that's going to give me we're going to rent it over and over again, and that just wasn't the case.
Yeah, but that's why. And Joe, you left out one. You said the John Wick director, which maybe, but I think it would be that's too heavy-handed when it comes to action, which would work here, but I don't necessarily think that style would mesh as
No,
well.
I don't think that works with those kinds of films. Like that's why I feel like if you've seen Robin and Prince of Thieves or The Count of Monte Cristo,
Like a slow burn story, but has great action set pieces during
yeah,
the storytelling to kind of have those beats would be.
yeah,
I
and
got to give it
think,
to part 3. I think part 3 of John Wick with the fighting, especially adding the dogs to fight. I was
But
like, I
the
don't think I've ever
ending,
fucking
Joe,
seen anything
the
like
ending,
the tail end of
how
that,
does he
yeah,
survive
and they
that
kept,
fall? We'll find out next year
No,
with John Wick 4.
No, not
Yeah.
about that. I just said the part where they were actually having all the battles and the dogs were engaged. I was like,
and
what
that
the
was
fuck
awesome.
have you ever
Yeah,
seen?
all that was good, but I felt like they kept making and breaking their own rules in part 3. Like there were so many good things in it, but like story, like wait a second here, you guys just said this, and
I know what you mean.
I'll
was
still
just
watch
like,
part
look,
4.
I'll be there opening day for part 4, and if they do a part 5, I mean, I'm. I like that's the only ongoing series that's going right now that I genuinely love and want to know more and see more. And I wish I could say that about Marvel and DC, but I got to wait for the next Batman movie to come out for that. But Kevin Reynolds is my pick for directing a He-Man live-action film right
And
now.
James Cameron probably would have worked like a Tim Burton from the early mid '80s to early '90s. That would have worked.
Pre-Titanic, he could have done something.
George Lucas, absolutely not. He barely made one good movie.
I don't know why anybody would even want George Lucas to direct anything, because he only directed the Star Wars and then the shitty prequels. So to me, that's not. He's got great ideas that were tweaked over time, but he's not responsible for Empire being as good as it was. Like
and then Zack Snyder, absolutely not.
Hell no, God.
The dialogue would just be drawn out, and it would be like fucking 7 hours long and
slow motion bullshit, and just they'd make He-Man and Teela brother and sister, because he just come in and just take a everything get up the ass,
and
everything.
And don't get us wrong, like Tyler and I, when 300 came out, we liked it. The Dawn of the Dead remake, we were all about, and then I think it all started to fall apart when Man of Steel. We were excited. We're like, he's gonna do Superman, and then we saw it, and I was like,
what a piece of shit. 300 doesn't hold up anymore. I could care less if I ever see it again. And Dawn of the Dead,
Dawn of the Dead's still fine to me.
It was fine, but I haven't had a desire to watch it in a while. It's probably the one film of his where I'm like, I don't mind it.
But I think that
I can't remember if I still own it or not.
It plays into his wheelhouse way more than any of that other shit that he did after
the
fact.
But the hell, I do know. Any of these modern day directors that are going right now, I don't want any like the cliche, popular, trendy. Like, no, I don't. No J.J. Abrams bullshit. I don't want any of these modern hacks who are really not that good that people think are that great.
Give somebody under the radar a shot. Maybe someone that's impressing with like smaller things that they've done. Like, take a chance on them. Let's see what they got.
Yeah, or even someone that's under like Joe Johnston, who directed The Rocketeer and Captain America: The First Avenger. Honey, I Shrunk the Kid. Someone who's good with special effects, but can tell good period stories, even though some of those are more World War II based. But still, those are directors that I feel like they're not oversaturated in our culture where everyone's just, they can't stop sucking on their balls because they think, oh, they're so good because they did trendy modern pop culture stuff. Like, no, they're not. They're hacks.
Well,
they're not good.
No, I wouldn't even go as far to say that they're hacks, because at one point or another, the directors that we mentioned have made good movies.
Well, not Tim Burton, I'm talking about like these, your Zack Snyder, your J.J. Abrams, these kind of current new regime of trendy directors.
Right.
All the great Spielberg, Oliver Stone, Tim Burton. Those are 3 directors I have treasured since I could really get into movies and even recognize a director. And in recent years, man, they've all made piece of shit films. All of them.
I think
Catch Me If You Can was the last Spielberg film I genuinely liked.
I was gonna say, out of all of them, though, I feel like Spielberg's had the better body of work, had way more hits.
Oh well,
of course.
Well, of course, but they've all I love Oliver Stone's gritty films. I like Wall Street, U-Turn, Platoon. List goes on and on. I respect him, but he makes shitty movies now. And Tim Burton, I don't know when Sleepy Hollow was probably the last
Big Fish for me was his last.
I guess I never saw Big Fish. I guess it just kind of was just I
think you would appreciate it now. Back then, I don't think you would have liked it as much, but now I think you would have a bigger appreciation for it.
Well, I love Ed Wood.
Yeah.
You know, Tim Burton's done some phenomenal
Mars
stuff.
Attacks is fun.
Mars Attacks is fun.
Edward Scissorhands, depressing as hell, but a good movie.
Beetlejuice. Oh, I can't watch Edward Scissorhands because I get too depressed. I'm like, it's just too damn sad. It's like, you know, I can't do it. I own it, but I'm like, I'm not gonna make myself depressed in my own home.
Well, how about that one scene where you know, he's doing the clipping and it's got that music going on, and I did the thing.
Oh God! All right, I have to tell Joe this real quick. Back when I was in, I think this is high school. I think Nathan came over. We were going to go toy hunting, and I was watching Edward Scissorhands, and it got to the scene where he's cutting one of the neighbors' hair. She's like, "Would you cut mine?" I can't remember what her name was, but she's the one that wanted to fuck him. And when he starts snipping at her hair, the music picks up real fast. Like, so Nathan, and Nathan's just sitting there watching, and he's actually acting like he's beating off to the rhythm of the music. And when Nathan does it, though, he does it real fast, and he smacks the crotch of his jeans.
I see Graham using this for something.
Oh, I know. And there's a stretch in the music where the violin goes, and Nathan made these long stretches, like he almost had done it before.
No,
to mimic,
never.
You know, and it was just like, that's why I always thought Nathan was a comedic genius, because it was so random. Like, I want to beat off while watching Edward Scissorhands, you know.
It doesn't, in the context he puts in, it doesn't make, but like, just imagine like someone phantom like jerking off, but like, you know, to the beat of the music. So
yeah,
you just look like.
But that's
like
the kind of stuff Nathan would do most of the time it was to make fun of stuff that we thought sucked.
Like Transporter 2.
But because Transporter 2 is a prime example. Yeah, Nathan would act like he's beating off in the movie theater because it's fucking Transporter 2. He gives a shit. You know, but yeah. Sorry, Joe. We took you out of the conversation too long there.
That's fine. No, I mean, when you guys go, It was part of the question. This next question will probably be quick, but Tommy said, have you seen the Eternium Minis Revelations? I did see Beastman and the War Sled, as they call it. He looks different. That's why I was kind of confused. Like, yeah, there's Beastman with the War Sled, and it's the Eternium Minis. But if you look at the art on the box and also the figure, it's like, but that doesn't look like Beastman from Revelation, unless this is going to be a look of him later.
Probably.
Like, we see he looks like classic Beastman, so it's weird, but yeah, I did see that, Tommy, and thanks for that question. Johnny Cox says, question, are there any cartoons that you loved as a kid, but when you tried to revisit as an adult, you couldn't get back into it?
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't call it, I wouldn't say a cartoon, but that original Power Rangers is definitely, going back and watching that, it's pretty rough.
That's definitely up there, because I was really into Power Rangers for a brief period. It was like, hardcore.
It was like a year and a half.
It was also,
I think it was like 4th and 5th grade for me.
Yeah. Not too long. Yeah, it was 5th grade. Like, because by that point it was frowned upon.
You couldn't tell anybody. All the kids that were over there liking Dallas Cowboys football wanted to kick your ass if they found out you like Power Rangers.
That's how it was. They all like baseball and shit like that.
Which I like that. I like that stuff too, but I like Power Rangers.
I know you did, but it was also like, frowned upon for like, that's when I was checking out books in the library of He-Man Golden books and having to hide them in my backpack so no one would find them. But yet Power Rangers is up there. I was trying to think of me because the G.I. Joe Deke series that I watched as a kid, because the USA Cartoon Express would play both G.I. Joe series. They would mix them up. They'd play the Sunbow Marvel series, and then they'd play the Deke series. The thing about the Deke series is that they had the figures that were currently available in stores to buy. The original show had characters that were discontinued, so it was always like lamenting, like, oh, I don't have Tomax and Zam, I don't have Flint, I don't have Destro. But the Deke series was so awesome to me as a kid. Cobra Commanders and the Destros in there, and characters that I was familiar with on the toy shelves. Going back and watching that show, actually, I tried again last month. I sat down and tried to sit through a few episodes. Like, oh my god, there's all these cool characters that I love: Range Viper, Saw Viper, the Night Creepers, Captain Gridiron, Salvo. I'm like, this cartoon sucks. It's just, and Chris Latta's back. Because Cobra Commander, so he's doing the best he can. But man, these stories suck, man. Just So there are others without boring you to death, but most of the ones that I grew up on either I didn't get to experience and saw them later on. Like I never saw Brave Star on TV. I never saw the VHSs or anything. It was strictly like I knew it was out there. I just never got to see it. It's a wonderful cartoon. Just one example. But we can if we ever do like another like fan appreciation episode, we just answer questions. We can dig a little deeper into something like that.
Joe, do you have?
For me, it was
I was gonna say if you had anything like that.
Yeah.
The only one was Back to the Future cartoon because I was all into I still love the movies, but when the cartoon was announced way back then, I was like, this is fucking great. And I remember seeing it. I was getting into it. Different types of stories, of course. But then I think it was a couple years ago when I was trying to do some Google and YouTube searches for it, and I watched this like, that was pretty bad. But otherwise, yeah.
I don't think most of those cartoons that were based off
movies like
yeah. Let's see, we got Back to the Future,
The Mask, Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber,
Bill and Ted.
Jim Carrey had several. Yeah, Bill and Ted.
And you know what? On the flip side, some of the cartoons based off of TV series, like one in particular I enjoyed. I still love the Al fucking cartoon. I love that. Had one of the funkiest intros of a cartoon.
I enjoyed it. I haven't rewatched that show since it originally aired. It's been that long since I've watched it.
Yeah, it's actually held up. It has held up, and I like that. Like I said, sometimes it was just that theme song from a cartoon that really sucked me in, and that was one of them. It was pretty different. So, but let's see. Andy said, "Is it just me?" He said, "Or did anyone else as a kid long to see an episode where Teela actually became the sorceress?" He said, "I always wanted to see that moment and almost felt cheated. We never got it." Well, we had that kind of episode where she's wearing the outfit.
Yeah.
But as for why I didn't want to, and I can understand where you're coming from, Andy. It's because I wanted the sorceress always to be there. I knew that one day Teela would become the sorceress, and I know what you mean by wanting to see it, but I feel like, but then the original sorceress is gone, and it would have kind of made me feel sad. I don't know.
I did write, for my own amusement, I did write an opening intro to the hero storyline narrated by the sorceress, and I was like, but it's Teela. Teela as the sorceress.
In that aspect,
yeah, I still have it. Yeah,
maybe read that one day on the show.
I could do that.
Hell, let's read it next week.
The intention was to like try to write an actual like hero, the son of He-Man, like plausible storyline with the idea that Teela, is stuck in Grayskull as the sorceress. Adam is raising.
As for something like outside of the original series, because in the original series, I just, these characters are supposed to, like always in my mind, timeless. They're always there.
Yeah.
But as for another
series,
it like
that.
Yeah.
But that's why I kind of feel like something like that, it's a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow. To take the status quo, and I appreciate that because honestly, it doesn't need to be changed. But the concept, if you think it through a little bit and you can bring something that doesn't change the characters, it gives them. That's why Cobra Kai is so fucking good. It doesn't change what we know and what we like. It just adds extra flavor into Johnny and Daniel. It doesn't take anything away from those films, and that's my approach with the hero storyline. Like, there's something fun to be had there.
Week. Yeah, definitely read it next week. And Curtis has one for you in particular, Tyler. Said not a question, but some Tiger. Tiger, just want to let you know that Corn Boy said in an interview this week that they would love to work on Bionic 6.
It's happening.
Fucking A! Yeah!
That would be kind of cool.
God. Yeah, the Bennett family and Scarab's crew. Like, I want to raise more awareness for this property on this podcast. So, like, Mike will be doing his stuff for Metro Blasting for it, but I want people to listen to this podcast. But a lot of the episodes are on YouTube to watch, not the best quality, but they're still watchable. And, I mean...
Just maybe don't binge it.
Well, and there's not a whole lot of continuity to it either. Like, it's just, you can kind of watch random episodes, but there are some real... I mean, they're all well written. I'm sure Michael's going to piss and shit all over them. It's some form or other just to piss me off.
Then we can bring it back. Curtis Ackerman also said Nathan belongs in Canada. He loves hockey, bacon, beer, and the Mountie. I don't like the Mountie. The Mountie fucking sucks. He should have never had an Intercontinental title reign. I hated that shit. He had the belt for such a short amount of time. I'm like, why even try? But it's
finger?
Jacques Rougeau, and anytime they're in Quebec,
though,
he's got to beat Hulk Hogan because the
finger.
fans love him. Everybody loves the Mountie.
But don't you remember that part? That actually shocked me at that pay-per-view when it was him and the Boss Man. Remember they're arresting him?
That's what I was going to say. I remember thought he was in jail. Like, oh, man.
That shit sucks.
And for me as a kid, what was shocking me was the whole middle finger thing because I couldn't believe they showed that when he was like, give me your finger because he wanted to put on that page. He said, you want the finger? Here here's the finger, I was like, oh my god, he just flipped him off on fucking wrestling. That's something that's like you didn't see. It was shocking. So yeah, you love the Mountie.
No.
Let's see. JSP said, did anyone here watch Mighty Max? He said, I saw it as a teenager, and I'll say it's one of the best of the 90s. I've never seen.
Cool. The toys I would see, I was like,
the toys were
that
interesting
looks cool.
concept. It was because I know Marvel did like their share of like those little pocket handheld play sets like with X-Men and Spider-Man, which was they looked really neat. I thought it was a cool concept because the Mighty Max like had different play sets that you could collect.
And they were
so it was a cool
And
concept.
they were cheap.
And yeah. So they were affordable. So I never got into it, but not because it didn't look cool. It was just it was not enough to pull my attention to want to buy some of it. Because my brother had one of the Marvel. He had like a Wolverine and a Mega Red one. It was really cool. I thought it was pretty neat. So it was an excellent concept. And they did it for both boys and girls with Polly Pocket and stuff like that. So it was a neat concept.
Yeah, fucking Polly Pocket, man.
Just you talking about Pocket, which I'm going to say something that's completely separate to that. But
did you have your hands in your pockets all the time?
About like
playing
pocket pool, exactly. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, that's always good enough. But I'm
Joe's
thinking about
those bulges and rub skin, Teddy Rub Skin. That's the porno name.
I don't know. I can't remember the fucking thing. I just remember that demented doll. You put the tape in. He started.
It reminds me of Elmo on South Park. The touch and tickle. Where he's like, where he's got like a toothpaste dispenser for a dick, and you push on it. And
Good God! But I
remember the
remember
one you know what I'm talking about. But you have to look up the Elmo on South Park.
Was that kind of when I dropped off of South Park, or is that something I was still kind of watching?
No, that was when they were making fun of Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah,
it was,
right. So I had fallen off the ship.
This is way after that.
Might be something I need to look up though, because I imagine that would be.
That clip of Elmo from South Park is on there. You can just look that up on YouTube.
I was actually thinking the other day about when Cartman pretends like he's dying from AIDS, and they do the whole like Philadelphia.
But
thing, no,
Jimmy
Buffett. Where he's like AIDS burger in paradise. I was like, oh my god! And Cartman's
fuck you, Jimmy Buffett. You suck.
Yeah, he says the only people that like Jimmy Buffett are like drunks and like really dumb girls from the South, or I can't remember what he worded it.
Well, he's not. I mean, they're not
yeah,
wrong.
Jimmy Buffett sucks too. I'd put Jimmy Buffett up there with the Mountie and Brutus Beefcake in terms of just like shitty fucking entertainment.
We'll get you a 2-pack of those figures.
No.
Johnny Cox said, question and answer. Since you talked about Power Rangers, did any of you go down the rabbit hole of the Tokusetsu Super Sentai shows that Rangers used for the suit and monster footage?
That is probably better than Power Rangers. Because that's how originally intended.
Footage, which I remember, I used to wonder like why the voices were dubbed.
Yeah, me too. I didn't think anything of it.
But I'm like, this makes no sense. But the actors playing the Rangers in the stock footage, where they're constantly clutching at their chest when they're, like, as a kid, like, why are they always acting like they're having a heart attack? Like, I hated the acting when they're like, oh my god, we got to stop the putties. Oh man, I just found it to be very campy, even as a kid. Like, why do they keep doing it? But it makes sense. It's just they were trying to sell, we're in danger, I'm in pain, so clutch your chest over and over again. But no, I never could get into the Power Rangers.
Yeah, of any of my, because I remember that was on just as before I went to school, and not to sound old, but I used to walk 3 miles to school every day, so I had to get an advanced walk.
I used to walk to school when I was in 5th grade. I got to where we were old enough to actually walk.
Yeah, but you didn't live that far away. You weren't 3 miles away.
Yeah, literally every day through the rain, sleet, and snow, as they say, but that was from the morning and then coming home from school, and that was for 4 years. Well, because that's just how it was. They didn't have a bus that really went in that direction, so I had to walk.
Sucks.
But still the wheels off that bus in Joe's neighborhood.
Yeah, literally, I'd have to get an early start walking. So I remembered I'd always catch the first 7 minutes of Power Rangers before I left every single day.
See, that's how it was for me in kindergarten when He-Man would come on at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'd catch the opening credits, what episode it was, and then my babysitter would have to take me to school. Like, it was just story of my life. I could never see any more episodes other than what was on VHS. You just had to. It just wasn't meant to be. What fed my hunger to come and do this podcast for you people, so you guys could hate my guts and hate everything I have to say and think I'm an asshole and that I live to make everybody so fucking mad and so, oh my god, he hates this.
I don't know. I think people have come to expect it these days. They don't get as mad at you anymore as they used to.
No, but I think a lot of times their logic behind it is like they really think like, it's there's rationalization behind my thoughts. I'm not someone that just says it because this is how I get popular on the internet and get clicks and shit.
He's a caveman.
You know. Yeah, he's the caveman.
Well, hit us with one last question before we wrap this up. And yeah, next week it'll be a good good discussion.
Are we going to do the? I guess. I mean,
well,
do we have to pretend like the staction discussion?
What?
What?
What did you say?
Okay, I said staction.
Yeah, I think that would be the plan next week, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what we were gonna do this week, and then that trailer dropped.
Both of you guys get quiet, like Tyler. What are you?
No,
doing?
I didn't say it out loud. I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, well, Joe didn't say anything. Almost like I'll have to yell at Tyler when we're done. Like he wasn't supposed to say anything.
I didn't want to spoil it.
I think it was because my mouth got so dry that I got tongue-tied when I talked, so I sucked through this super thick straw for a second. And as I did that, I didn't hear a thing. And coincidentally, Nathan was like, "What? He didn't hear it? Did my straw suck?"
I'm like, you guys can't really.
Joe, you're just over there sucking too much.
Well, look how thick that is.
Sucking on rub skin.
Look at that. I couldn't find a thing.
Joe likes,
you know what I mean?
I got a milkshake straw.
Yeah, Joe likes putting thick things in his mouth and sucking on them.
I couldn't find any thin ones, and it was the only one. And you like to grab an extra set of straws when you go somewhere, so they were just in the drawer. That's what I said. And I don't know. I think this was for Slurpees or something, and it didn't have the thin ones.
You could see Joe doing that. He just goes in the 7-Eleven. It's like, is there any hot dogs on the floor? Nope. Well, better take me a handful of straws. Well, see you later.
A handful of free mustard.
Well, hey, that's where I get angry. It's like sometimes when I go somewhere and they either don't give me the napkins or they give me one ketchup to go with something or one hot sauce. I'm like, well, damn it, I'm going to grab some extra of this as I'm leaving.
He just grabs the whole little container.
Holds his hand up,
Well, think of that. You go to like Taco Bell and you get, let's say, you get 3 or 4. Well, I'm going to give you my story.
I go to Taco Bell.
I get some of the weirdest shit. And do you really think that I'm going to have one hot sauce with 4 items or 2 hot sauces for 4 items? Like, you give me 2 with each. If I'm getting 4
I used
items,
to go through that shit with my brother at Dairy Queen because we get the chicken strip baskets back in the day, and they would only want to give you 1. And my brother would like to pretty much drink the sauce. And he'd throw such a fit. But you go over there and asking for more, they look at you like you're asking for money back. As if, like, you fucking weirdo, give me more than 1. Escort this man out of here. We don't
need Joe in there. Because Joe will handcuff himself to the register if he has to.
Or just pester you about why he's homeless till you leave him until he, you're like, oh look, we'll give you a chicken strip basket if you shut the hell up. How about a sausage McMuffin with hash browns?
By the way, did you know that for 4 years I had to walk 3 miles to school? That's the snow, rain, hail, what have you.
And half of my shoes are missing.
And I had to walk. I had to walk 5 miles, as a matter of fact, to get here today because my car. I need to tell you about my car. It's got the red, and they're like, "Just get out of here." Every time.
I admittedly will do a sympathy act. I do that admittedly.
Joe hangs outside restaurants with like powder hanging over his head. And it just dangles like it's snowing only on him, and he just
whatever I can get. I like also messing with people. I told Nathan this story. Like
he's out there wearing rags and slapping.
He's like trained. He's got like he's like Lawrence Fishburne and John Wayne. He's trained all these pigeons to do that for him.
Yeah,
where they're dumping the powder above him and make it look like it's snowing real good, guys.
Joe's like, we're going to Applebee's tonight,
Oh crap! Oh Crapplebee's! What a shitty restaurant Crapplebee's is.
Well, I will give you a little story of Taco Bell. It's something I do once in a while because now they have in the one area I'm at, you have to usually put your order in at the kiosk. So after you put your order in, which I'm usually, like I said, getting bean burrito, no bean, which already fucks with all their heads.
Legit
like,
do that?
What
Joe's probably shitting his pants eating all that.
It's the best. I've been doing this for probably 25 years, and it's to get there.
So if you do...
Let me get this. Hold on, Nathan. Let me tell you. I always go in there, I say, I'd like a bean burrito, no bean, and you see them starting to then they look up, they're like, what did you just say? I said a bean burrito, no bean. They said, do you mean a beef and bean burrito with no bean? I'm like, no, a bean burrito, no bean. And they say, well, what are you getting on that? I was like, it's just the red sauce, cheese, and onions. And they say, okay. And then they type in the order, and they ring it up, and then I quickly move to where I see the people as they're cooking, like making the orders and looking up at the screen, and they do a look up, and then they do a double take and look, and you see them, like, sit back, like, is this person wanting a bean burrito? No bean. And sometimes they look
So
right
you're
at me.
doing this on purpose because you're enjoying messing with the staff, aren't you?
Well, the thing is, first, I love bean burrito, no bean, because I just hate that big mush of bean that they put on
Why
that.
can't you
And
just
second,
ask for a tortilla with onions and sauce? Why
let
do you
me
have
get
to
to
say
that.
bean burrito?
I'll get to that too. Hold on.
Probably cost
so first,
him. It's cheaper that way. I bet that's why he does it.
Let me get to that.
Oh my God.
So like I said, they do this double take and look, and sometimes they'll look at me and like, is this what you really want? I'm like, yeah. They're like, what do you like about that? I was like, I just don't like the bean. And it's just this double take. But the one person when I went to a Taco Bell said, well, aren't you just getting like a tortilla with red sauce, onions, and cheese? And I said, yeah. They said, start ordering it like that. You actually get it cheaper because they're inputting item by item. I said, okay. Then here comes the flip side. I went to that same Taco Bell the next week and asked for a tortilla with red sauce, onions, and cheese. And they said, do you mean a bean burrito, no bean? And this is a completely new worker. I was like, God, I can't win with these fucking things. But now,
here comes that guy.
Get to the new thing.
Comes that no bean guy.
Well, here comes the story. Now you got to type in.
Here comes Bino.
At the kiosk. Yeah, you can only go by a kiosk at this Taco Bell.
Because he's probably have to take it after he eats all those damn beans.
You ain't shitting. But I put in the order.
Man, that was no pun intended there.
I put in the order, and after it's done, they ask for a name. So they ask for a first name, last name, first initial.
Butts.
No, I can only put the first initial of the last name. So I've been putting.
Do you give your name out in public? Because I almost like you keep your face in private
here.
This
is what I'm getting to. I put Keldor G. Just to fuck with people to see what kind of name is Keldor. So sure enough, I put in Keldor G, and they said they will call you when the order's ready. Every time they've been doing that, Keldor, and I come up and I get them like yes, and they said, that's a really weird name. What is that? I said it's Eternian, and these are always usually young people that are at the store. They're like, Eternian, what's that? I was like, it's Greek. I said, have a nice day, and I walk out. It's so great because it's these young people have no clue.
Then he just shits his pants as he's walking out the door. Oh, we didn't bring this up last week because we had Michael on, but we need to talk about the Big Daddy connection and what I used for the thumbnail In our thumbnail for last week, you guys saw the Modulok mask, and it looked like a hobo sitting there, and that's Steve Buscemi in Big Daddy, because he plays the hobo that always wants a sausage McMuffin. And we just assume that that's how Joe is, that he sits out there doing favors for people, or you saying like, hey, I'll get you a sausage McMuffin. You're like, all right, I'm going to take you up on that, and then he pulls out his little notepad and writes down something so he knows.
And if you wondered, that is why I had that Fantasia in back.
I know. I saw that last week. When you get to acknowledge that, I saw it because anybody who knows that scene. I mean, I give two shits about Adam Sandler anymore, but there's some good moments in Big Daddy, and I asked Joe, I was like, "Did you watch this a lot?" And he didn't get what I was referencing.
Right.
So it was. Everybody was wondering why. What's that?
You're right. And then after Tyler mentioned that about, that reference from that movie, I had to look it up. I was like, oh, shit, he did say that. And I was like, I actually have that movie. So I went and put it, and I set it right there in back of me. Because I was like, is anybody going to catch this? Why in the hell is Fantasia sitting in back of me? So
I often wonder when we make, I mean, obviously the three of us will do it to entertain ourselves. But, I mean, does anyone ever say in the chat room they wonder about these little inside jokes? Or like,
I don't think they need to. They don't need to ask. We're just adding to the mythology of one G. Keldor.
Yeah. What I really want you to use Klopak next time and tell, and they ask, what is that, Slavic? I want you to make a Burbs. I want you to do that. I want you to make a Burbs reference.
You should.
And they say, what is that? Slavic? And then you go, no. About a 9 on the tension scale there, Keldor.
I love that goddamn movie.
It's totally underrated.
Quote that podcast or quote that on there. What's that? I
said it's totally underrated. People don't talk about it.
Highly
that much.
Underrated. But honestly, anytime I know someone's, it's like a secret handshake. It's like you don't have to explain why you love it because the other person loves it just as much, and they can always quote it. Anybody who's seen the Burbs can quote the Burbs. Doesn't matter what scene it is, you know what they're talking about. When anybody, there's something about that particular movie. Like, why isn't Tom Hanks getting Oscar nominations for that? The hell with Forrest Gump and all these other.
No, we ain't talking no shit about Forrest Gump on this show.
Well, I will say this: The Burbs is the best movie Tom Hanks has ever done to this day, and Big.
The Burbs, Big.
You cannot beat those.
I love his supporting role in A League of Their Own. I think he's fantastic in that too.
always good in that, and Forrest Gump is good too. But when I see all these like Oscar-based movies and
Yeah.
shit like that, I'm like, why can't we go back to Mayfield Place and Tom Hanks comes back to
There's still
tackle
time.
another
There's
crazy?
still time. Burbs too. I know Carrie Fisher isn't around. Rest in peace. But
No, we can just say, well, she died. From I don't
yeah.
know. Maybe J.J. Abrams come in there and rewrite that shit.
No, we don't want him touching anything else.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Well, I think that
we
pretty
didn't
much
get that last question, Joe, because you went on your Taco Bell tirade.
I think that had to end it was the
I want
Taco
another
Bell
question.
tirade.
I want another
Well,
question.
we're gonna have to wait and see if something comes up. Oh, JSP did mention Bachelor Party. I like Bachelor Party too. Isn't that weird? Burbs, Big, Bachelor Party, all these B shows, but they were A movies. I loved them all. Yep, all the B's.
He's got quite the range as an actor.
He does.
Probably.
Yeah, he doesn't do the
probably say he's
comedies
probably
no more
America's
though.
finest actor in terms of like his appeal.
Yeah.
Like everybody likes Tom
Yeah.
Hanks, or you at least have one movie that he's in that you genuinely
Yeah,
love.
all those people shitting their pants over Castaway back in the day. I'm like, whatever.
I still haven't seen it because I'm like, it just doesn't look that interesting.
It's one of those things where that was an early instance of basically showing you the whole movie in the trailer. I'm like, well, I already saw it. And I don't need to go.
Well, yeah,
go
and
watch
my brother
this
and dad loved it, and I'm like, you know what? I'm
sure it's perfectly fine, but yeah, I'd rather watch Burbs or Big or go watch A League of Their Own, something like that.
I want to watch the. Did you pledge? Yeah, every morning. Like,
he's got great comedic timing. Put him in more funny stuff. Marvel, put Tom Hanks in one of your movies. You guys want to have all that funny dialogue all the time.
Oh yeah, because it's all about being funny, haha, and how man, everyone said it one up each other.
All right, here comes the last question from Johnny Cox. Says, how much prep goes on during the week before you go live for Fans of Power?
Shit.
Zero. That's what we always champion for this podcast is we will talk about what our topic's going to be.
Yeah,
but there's no prep. It comes right in raw and real. That's it. We just start talking.
If Joe insists on doing some sort of like really bad story from overseas and I'm forced to sit and read it, I'm like, oh my God, this thing is terrible. That's got to
be one of my greatest pleasures is doing that to Tyler. He's like, what the fuck? Wait, what is this story? And then when I'm special, like not just talking about SilverHawks from a game where he's like, what the fuck's that? But I love doing that with the stories where he's like, he's never read it. And I know I was like, Tyler's gonna fucking hate this, but I'm gonna love his hate. I like this shit. But there's been times there's some stories like, no, that actually was good. But yeah, there's been some doozies that he could.
I don't recall any good ones that we've done that was not said everything in America is better, but Joe just picks the worst ones, and Nathan will have to prep in advance, for watch an episode or read it, things like that. But in terms of like, we do like really think of this as like doing a wrestling promo. Just tell us where we need to go and tell us. Go and we just take off. We just everything is improvised. We may have an idea of where we want to go in advance, but it's
no prep. There's not like like what are we gonna talk about?
We don't have cue cards. We don't write down notes or anything like that. We just everything that you get from us on each episode is pretty much on the spot. Or,
there's nothing. We ain't doing any Naked Gun, 33 1/3 where we're reading off the cues and then we're reading off her lines and the description.
I watched that last week and I watched the first one last night.
I need to go back and watch 2 and 3.
Oh God, they're just as good as the first one, man.
I love just that offbeat, dumb, like it's smart dumb. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and they don't focus on it. Like they just keep going.
It's rapid fire.
They don't linger on it for you. Like, all right, this is funny.
Yeah, they don't do like Family Guy where they just hold out on that joke for about half the episode
and over and over.
I just watched Hot Shots Part 2 the other day too. I just watched that.
Hot Shots Part 2. Yeah.
Oh shit, but all right guys, well we enjoyed you being here and I hope you enjoyed this episode as well. And I'm always going to say, if you are new to this channel, make sure you like, subscribe, share, and ring that bell so you can always be notified when we go live. And until next time, have a powerful day.
You still refuse to accept my godhood? Keep your own God. In fact, this might be a good time to pray to him. That's what I said to Michael after the podcast last week in private.
Not a clue on this one. I'm passing that
and
to
my
Nate.
brain's are because I was sitting there. And I'm just like,
Waiting for the chat.
Which is stupid because as soon as you said it, I'm like, yeah, that clicked. And now it's just gone.
I don't
I'm an idiot.
Well, both of you guys have seen this
Of
movie.
course,
I know you
of
have.
course we have.
So, a lot of times Joe
Let
hasn't
me
seen
let me
anything. So.
let me get Michael in on the call
10,
real quick.
9,
Okay, yeah.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
Conan the
2.
Barbarian.
Zen Brown with a
No.
question mark.
Yeah.
All right, what is it then?
It's Street Fighter the movie, M. Bison, Raul Julia.
No wonder why I didn't know it. I watched that one
Because
movie.
I was like,
Okay.
yeah, that's the best live action G.I. Joe movie we've gotten. Because I say it every time.
Yeah.
I hate
Shit.
that movie. I know you like it, Tyler. Nothing wrong with that. Like I said,
No. I turned on that film
Me too.
for a long time, and then if my dad hadn't been like my dad was still living with me, I came home and he was watching it. I'm like, I kind of got back into it, and then I watched it by myself. I'm like, God, this is a G.I. Joe movie. And I told Nathan about it. And
Okay.
Nathan, I think, was warming up to it around the same time I was. Just kind of like, worked out that way. But it's
that shitty
it's
Sega
not.
Saturn / PlayStation game that they did. God, I fucking hate it.
I really wanted to play that live action based game so bad because getting to play as Van Damme. I'm like, oh man,
You weren't missing nothing.
Yeah, but it's Van Damme
Yeah.
as Guile. So I was already.
To me, that was at the peak of my Van Damme fandom as a child was seeing him play
and
as
yet-
Guile. I had the movie magazine, the action figures from the movie.
And yet-
I was all over the
And
place.
yet, you thought sudden death sucked back then.
I didn't say it sucked. It was just it wasn't what I expected.
Then you came,
so therefore,
but
yeah,
you came
it was
around.
not.
You came around.
Oh boy, I came around. I'm like, God, it's one of his most underappreciated, underrated films.
But just
You could probably say it's in his top 5.
Just watch
probably.
Street Fighter the movie as a knockoff G.I. Joe film. I think you
Yeah.
would get more appreciation
Well,
out of
see,
it.
Joe doesn't like G.I.
Yeah,
Joe either because he's scarred
Oh
by
yeah,
it. So.
I forgot about that. It's
But
his name
anybody
and
who listens to this podcast and it is by far no. I mean, they got some things right in that Street Fighter movie, but they got a whole hell of a lot
They
wrong
really
too.
did.
But if you look at it as G.I. Joe, it's like hell. I would have bought that as a G.I. Joe film in a heartbeat.
Too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was an insane Super Street Fighter. I mean, in Street Fighter 2.
And I get it,
those
but I
fucking versions,
remember when it
super
came out too.
furious.
I didn't see any of those problems other than like Ken didn't look like Ken, and Blanca looked fucking terrible.
Yeah,
But
Blanca
Vega
was
looked
bad.
You know
awesome.
Hey, you want to hear another pet peeve of Joe Amato that drove me nuts about
Yes.
it? Is
Sure.
at that time, most people knew that his name was Ryu. They knew that from when they would hear that in some of the cartoons, movies, and they still called him Ryu. And then I was like, I want to choke.
I've heard both. I've heard people say both Ryu and Ryu, and I
But
think
it is
growing
Ryu.
up-
Yeah, it's
See,
Ryu.
I call him Ryu. That's how I call him. I call him Ryu.
Yeah, I can
You know?
understand. No, I can understand why, but it's just like when that happened for the movies, like, you fuckers have seen it. You know the right way to pronounce this, and you still get it wrong. But beyond that, there was some other crazy shit. I hated the stuff with Blanca. Oh, God, I don't want to get into it. But,
Yeah.
all right. See you guys next time.
But I will say, I'm not done talking here. You can go. if
Oh,
you
you're
want
done
to.
now. That's it. Where's the off button? We're going to turn this
No,
fucker off. Now go
I
ahead.
will
can't-
say, Raul Julia's performance as M. Bison is quite enjoyable
Yeah.
in the film. Like it's Raul Julia
Yeah.
anyway. But I always love his opening where he says, where he starts breaking necks left and right from all these captured soldiers. Like it's just such a great way to introduce him into the movie.
And Lacey Dean said
no.
Sudden Death is a movie I took my wife to see on our first date. That's a hell of a first date.
That's a hot first date, man.
How'd the rest of that go? Let us know in the comments below.
What'd she say?
Yeah, did she like it?
Yeah.
Was it a mutual
my
thing?
God.
Or were you like, new Van Damme's out, you gotta go to this. This is what we're doing.
I'll show you what a real man.
What was
movie
actually
is like.
what else was playing in the theaters when Sudden Death came out?
That was 1995, I think, at the time. I can't remember what else was out at the time. I remember the commercials for it and everything. Of course, wanting to see it, but I know a lot of Van Damme's movies back then had nudity in them, so therefore I was like, well, I'll probably get in trouble.
Well,
if there's
it came out December 22nd, 95.
Yeah.
So December 95 box office. Oh, damn. All right. There was a lot of competition here in December 95. We have Toy Story, Jumanji, Father of the Bride Part 2, Heat, Goldeneye, Waiting to Exhale, which come to think of that, it ties into a little bit with Waiting to Exhale because of Angela Bassett, where she played Tina Turner in that biopic movie.
Oh yeah, what's love got to do with it?
And I watched the documentary on Tina on HBO Max a couple days ago. That's pretty solid. Like, I knew she had gone through some shit, but what you find out in the documentary, I'm like, you should have got out of there. Somebody kick Ike's ass, man.
Man, even watching that movie, like how much he beats it, like Lawrence Fishburne playing Ike Turner, like. Yeah.
See, I never watched the movie. Joe,
I
you
watched
watched
it
What's
years
Love
ago.
Got to Do with It, didn't you?
Yes. Yes.
Opinions? We gotta go. Why are we still talking?
I
That's
liked
what
it.
Joe's saying right
I
now.
like to see you guys next time. I'm roasting my balls off over
All right.
here.
Well, then get the hell out of here.
We'll
then.
go before Joe has a